20 years have passed since I left Earth and found myself in another world. Today is the day I will defeat the monster and save the world. The battlefield is engulfed in flames and smoke as the decisive confrontation unfolds. A massive explosion erupts, sending flames and debris violently into the air, signaling a powerful attack unleashed on the battlefield. Amidst the thick smoke and darkness, a pair of glowing red eyes pierce through, revealing the monster's ominous presence still looming despite the blast. The monster mocks the hero for surviving the powerful attack, praising such endurance as truly befitting of a hero. The hero's companions, a saintess, a mage, and a knight, are barely holding on, but hero Lee Hyun-suk challenges the monster, noting it doesn't look much better. The monster angrily launches a devastating energy attack, enraged by the hero's defiance. Lee Hyun-suk reacts quickly, delivering a strong sword strike that forces the monster to retreat. The monster's furious energy attack shatters the protective barrier, forcing the group to brace against the impact. The monster roars a deadly warning, vowing to tear them apart if they refuse to submit. The monster declares this land as its kingdom, claiming it was forged by its own teeth and claws while unleashing a fierce energy attack. Lee Hyun-suk steels himself, his expression hardened with determination as he prepares to confront the monster's assault. Lee Hyun-suk launches a powerful counterattack, clashing fiercely against the monster's energy assault. He tightens his grip on his weapon, preparing for the next decisive move. Lee Hyun-suk summons his remaining strength, igniting his weapon with fierce flames as he prepares to deliver a final blow. With a determined roar, he charges forward, declaring his intent to end the battle once and for all. Lee Hyun-suk unleashes a devastating fiery strike, engulfing the battlefield in intense flames. The force of his attack shatters the surroundings, sending debris flying as he pushes forward with relentless power. A powerful footstep slams into the ground, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The impact triggers a massive explosion, scattering debris and intensifying the chaos around them. Both combatants lock eyes with fierce determination, their intense gazes signaling the imminent clash between them. The ground erupts violently as the impact from their confrontation creates a massive crater, sending debris and flames soaring into the air. The monstrous figure lunges fiercely toward Lee Hyun-suk, unleashing a powerful barrage of attacks that shatter the ground around them. The creature's massive hand swings down with overwhelming force, threatening to crush everything in its path. The monstrous figure's powerful strike connects, forcing Lee Hyun-suk to brace himself against the overwhelming impact. Despite the pain, Lee Hyun-suk recovers quickly and counters with a fierce, ground-shaking attack using his weapon. The monstrous figure boasts about an attack so soft it won't even leave a scratch. Lee Hyun-suk challenges the claim, questioning the idea of an attack being soft as he prepares to respond. The monstrous figure launches a fierce attack, but the protagonist braces himself, gripping his flaming sword firmly to counter it. With a determined glare, the protagonist declares his strike will be enough to cut down the monster's arrogance, unleashing a powerful fiery slash that explodes upon impact. The monstrous figure recoils as the fiery slash strikes, its chest burning fiercely from the impact. The protagonist stands firm, watching the monster stagger back, the flames illuminating the grim battlefield around them. The monstrous figure is shocked to realize that a human exists who can stand against him. The man, battered but resolute, declares that he is not from this world, emphasizing his otherworldly origin. The man, battered and resolute, dismisses the monstrous figure's disbelief as nonsense and accepts that he may fall now, but believes his body will eventually be absorbed into the land, hinting at a larger fate. The monstrous figure reacts with a sudden, intense expression, clearly unsettled by the man's words and the implications they carry. The man realizes his regeneration is failing and wonders if he is being erased. The monstrous figure explains that the black flame is his special paradox flame, which burns using abstract concepts as fuel rather than oxygen. The monstrous figure declares that Lee Hyun-suk's long habit of resurrecting himself is over, revealing that the black flame now burning is consuming his very existence. Lee Hyun-suk questions if this means his time is ending, but the figure warns that even if erased, he will never be remembered as the hero who saved the world. The monstrous figure reveals that those Lee Hyun-suk considers his companions are actually waiting for him to die here. Lee Hyun-suk calmly admits that he already knows this harsh truth. A woman pleads with Lee Hyun-suk not to trust the monster's words, then reveals that the saintess who claimed to love him was actually manipulating him out of hatred for being an outsider. Lee Hyun-suk explains that her seduction was a calculated scheme designed to make him hesitate when the time comes to eliminate her after the subjugation ends. Lee Hyun-suk confronts the saintess, questioning if his judgment of her manipulation is mistaken. He turns away, declaring that the other two are just as deceitful as she is. The knight received a national treasure from the emperor as a reward for trying to eliminate me after I killed the monster, revealing the emperor's fear that I might usurp his throne. The mage despises me simply because I oppose the slavery system, despite his obsession with human experimentation. He has known for 5 years that they would kill him after the hero's death. The hero's power could have easily destroyed the world that turned against him, but the hero's motives remain incomprehensible. He insists that he never acted out of a desire to go home, denying any such motive. The dark figure questions him, surprised by the idea that he wants to return home, just as the story flashes back to Earth in 2005, 20 years earlier. I was an ordinary 30-year-old office worker until I was led by a being named a goddess and transported to another world. There are many stories about ordinary people succeeding in another world. The other world I arrived in was a disaster, filled with terrified cries and desperate pleas for help. I tried every method imaginable to return to Earth, but there was only one way: defeat the monsters and save the world. For 20 years, I trained relentlessly to fight against the monsters. 2 guards confront the man, warning him that even as the hero, he cannot act alone, especially with the weapon he carries. Holding a rescued child, the man demands entry, insisting he saved the child from the village and must be allowed inside. The guards criticize the man for trying to save someone who was clearly dying, calling it a waste of medicine in a world that cruelly abandons the wounded. Suddenly, the man screams in pain, revealing that a far more serious problem has arisen. They decide to hold him down and amputate his leg immediately to prevent the infection from spreading further. The narrator reflects on the brutal medieval standards of medicine and hygiene, explaining that all healers are at war, so no one is available to properly treat the wounded. A voice urgently calls out to the wounded man, addressing him as Sir Hero. The question follows about how he managed to rescue a child who had been captured by monsters, while ominous figures stand before burning crosses, hinting at a darker horror yet to be revealed. The wounded man is urged to abandon pity and accept the god's will, as these otherworldly beings disregard human rights. After enduring this harsh reality for 20 years, he faces a grim choice. A woman reveals that the child's survival is due to a demon residing within it, and insists they will personally perform the exorcism, as they are already engaged in several at the moment. After a long and agonizing battle in this otherworldly realm, he finally defeated the monster and saved the world. Exhausted and wounded, he acknowledges that the ordeal is finally over. A voice admits relief that the protagonist found out the truth but insists they cannot be allowed to live. Lee Hyun-suk confesses his hatred for the world as he prepares to face the imminent danger. The young man clenches his teeth in frustration, realizing the situation is far worse than expected. Lee Hyun-suk acknowledges his severe injuries have left him barely able to move, lamenting that they have only succeeded in creating a monster to fight another monster. Lee Hyun-suk exhales deeply, his breath visible in the cold air, as he steels himself despite his injuries. He shouts with determination that he has completed the mission assigned to him and demands that the promise made to him be honored. A sudden, ominous crack splits the dark red sky, drawing the attention of the group below as a beam of light pierces through the clouds. The beam intensifies and explodes with blinding force, signaling a powerful and possibly divine intervention. A radiant figure acknowledges the hero's endurance and praises his victory over the monster through relentless effort. The battle-worn hero challenges the goddess, reminding her of the promise that capturing the monster would preserve all his experiences, memories, and even his soul intact. The goddess suggests she might send Lee Hyun-suk back to Earth, challenging his resolve. She questions if he really rejects this world despite his strength, warning that returning would nullify all his accomplishments as a hero here. Lee Hyun-suk exhales deeply, showing a moment of weary acceptance. He confronts the goddess, accusing her of pretending and insists he is simply leaving as promised, acknowledging that this world no longer needs him. The goddess questions if he will truly not regret his decision to leave. He reveals his sole desire is to return to the world he once knew, discarding his weapons as a sign of finality. He firmly declares that his decision is final and lets go of his weapons, signaling the end of his resolve. The goddess accepts his choice without hesitation, acknowledging his determination to leave the godforsaken otherworld behind. The scars and dirt on his hands symbolize the hardships he endured, marking the moment when the past is finally left behind. A powerful burst of light erupts around him, signaling a transformative release as he steps forward into a new beginning. A voice explains that because his physical body has already died on Earth, his soul will be transferred into a new vessel. The voice admits it cannot explain fully but reveals the new body is doomed to a grim fate, though it is certain he will survive and is willing to endure any hardship to return to Earth. The voice expresses hope that the new vessel's fate will be better than the suffering endured before. A sudden bright light appears, signaling the imminent transfer of the soul into the new body. The consciousness awakens in a new body, questioning if it has truly returned. It is revealed that in the year 2025 on Earth, hero Lee Hyun-suk has entered the body of civilian Yoo Chan-seok, igniting a surge of anger toward the otherworldly enemies. The consciousness notices a mirror and feels relief at no longer having to face traitors. Looking into the mirror, it acknowledges that this reflection is now its new self. The consciousness affirms its return to reality, acknowledging that it is truly back on Earth. It revels in the purity of clean, uncontaminated water, declaring it real magic and rejecting the power of mages. The young man lights a stove with a simple press of a button, marveling at the ease of creating fire without the hassle of chopping wood or building campfires. He expresses relief and joy, acknowledging that this convenience is exactly what he missed. The young man stares in disbelief at a box of fried chicken, questioning if it really is chicken. Overcome with curiosity and hunger, he picks up a piece of the fried chicken, ready to taste it. He takes a bite of the fried chicken, finally tasting it after his long hesitation. Overwhelmed by the flavor, he clenches his fists in joy, realizing this is what real food truly tastes like. He chokes up with tears, overwhelmed by how much he missed this feeling and everything it represents. He quietly admits that finally, he can live a normal life again. As a bright light flashes outside the window, he realizes he must first adapt to the present Earth, shocked to find it is already 2025. Despite the difficulty of adjusting, he resolves that this new world cannot be more terrifying than the other world he came from. The young man experiences the simple comfort of hot water pouring down immediately, a stark contrast to his past hardships. He closes his eyes and smiles softly, savoring the warmth and relief that this moment of normalcy brings. Cold air flows out effortlessly with the push of a button, adding a new sensation to the young man's surroundings. He looks out at the clear, bright sky and realizes this world is completely different from the harsh one he left behind. The young man contemplates what to do first in the year 2025, deciding to start with playing StarCraft. Suddenly, a terrifying creature lunges at him, causing him to scream in shock and fear. The young man recoils in shock, unable to comprehend what he's witnessing. A voice announces that a corrosion rift has appeared within the apartment complex, leaving him confused and alarmed about its meaning. An announcement urgently orders all residents to evacuate to the underground shelter immediately, heightening the tension in the building. The young man struggles to process the chaos unfolding around him, his wide eyes reflecting his growing fear and confusion. The young man is trapped as grotesque. Laughing figures swarm around him, their menacing presence overwhelming. In a panic, he strikes a glass barrier, breaking it in a sudden burst of defiance against the encroaching threat. The young man breaks the glass barrier, forcing his way out as the grotesque figures relentlessly pursue him. He grimaces in fear and confusion, urgently questioning the nature of the monstrous entities chasing him. The grotesque figures surge forward relentlessly, closing in on the young man as he struggles to escape their grasp. Overwhelmed and desperate, he questions the chaos unfolding around him, demanding to know what is happening on Earth. The young man breaks through a window, urgently climbing inside to escape the relentless figures pursuing him. He catches his breath and cautiously peers around a corner, relieved to realize he has finally lost his pursuers. The young man notices a child holding a stick nearby and realizes he is not alone. The child warns the young man that the area is dangerous and urges him to hurry to the shelter while asking if he has seen where the monster went. The child boldly states he will kill the monster and invites the young man to join him, catching the young man off guard. The young man recalls that Earth has been like this for 13 years and admits he couldn't leave the child alone after he refused to go to the shelter, so he ended up following him. The young man seeks confirmation, trying to understand the child's explanation clearly. The child explains that a corrosion rift is a mysterious exit from which monsters emerge, and no one knows why, when, or where these rifts will appear. The young man bitterly realizes he endured a living hell to return to Earth, only to find it has become a hellhole as well, and he angrily questions the goddess about this cruel fate. He then questions the child about why he seems unaware of these dire circumstances, and the child explains that he was living in America for a while, implying his ignorance stems from being away. The child explains that the US president was impeached for attempting to secretly send his daughter to Korea, revealing how he managed to come back despite the restrictions. The child changes the subject and asks about the hunter the young man likes, leading the young man to shout the name Lee Se-eun. The young man describes the hunter he admires as a top-ranked member of the Janabi Guild, currently engaged in combat with a dangerous corrosion rift in Chorwin using her greatsword. He contemplates the strangeness of a normal human fighting monsters, recalling the world he came from and questioning how such a feat could be possible. The young man admires the hunter's greatsword, finding it especially impressive. Before he can share a must-see video of Lee Se-eun on YouTube, someone abruptly covers his mouth to silence him. Frustration builds as the young man is abruptly silenced, unable to speak. He realizes they are surrounded by many monsters, heightening the danger of the situation. Lee Hyun-suk counts the enemies and determines there are 5 visible, but including 1 hidden, the total is 6. He notes his body has above-average strength and feels confident fighting multiple enemies, though some unease remains. The young boy trembles with fear, and the thought crosses his mind that leaving him alone would surely lead to something bad happening to him. The boy struggles with his lack of a proper weapon, questioning how he can protect himself or fight without one. The boy notices a strange energy swirling in the air and wonders if it could be mana. He becomes certain that this energy is the same as what he witnessed in another world, prompting a new resolve. A sinister figure with a twisted grin suddenly appears, radiating a dark and threatening presence. Lee Hyun-suk reacts swiftly, unleashing a powerful attack that disintegrates the dark creatures, while internally realizing that although his accumulated mana is gone, the ambient mana in the air still offers him a chance. He senses that despite losing his accumulated mana, the paradox flame engraved on his soul remains accessible. With a confident smile, he acknowledges that although his firepower is somewhat diminished, he can still wield this unique ability. He unleashes the paradox flame with enough force, confident it will be more than sufficient. A young boy excitedly praises the display, admitting he was skeptical at first, but now recognizes the power as a unique skill. The young boy suddenly recalls a crucial detail he saw on the official Hunter Academy YouTube channel, emphasizing the importance of confirming the kill. Realizing this, he urgently calls out to stop, understanding that the flames of the paradox flame require proper confirmation to be effective. The young boy urgently shouts a warning to ensure no one leaves before confirming the target is truly dead. The paradox flame erupts violently, emphasizing the critical need for proper kill confirmation. Lee Hyun-suk addresses the young boy directly, preparing to impart a crucial lesson. He grips the boy's hand firmly, emphasizing the importance of understanding beyond modern distractions, insisting that kill confirmation is essential regardless of unfamiliarity with concepts like YouTube. The young man warns the boy that he should probably stop watching the dangerous shadowy figure behind him. The boy nervously asks if he can borrow the staff the young man is holding, showing his hesitation and need for help. The young man urgently tosses the staff to the boy, signaling him to take it now. Seizing the moment, the young man launches a powerful attack, striking the shadowy figure and sending it flying backward. The boy's eyes widen in shock and disbelief as he processes what just happened. The young man, catching his breath, stands silently with the staff in hand while the boy excitedly asks if he is secretly a hunter, to which the young man responds with a weary, serious thought. He bitterly notes that the stench of blood still haunts him even after coming to Earth. He clenches his teeth, realizing that if Earth is like this now, it is no different from the hell he hoped to escape. The young man clenches his teeth, haunted by the persistent stench of blood that makes Earth feel no different from the hell he tried to escape. A crowd assembles silently in a cracked courtyard, their murmurs rising as they anticipate the unfolding events. The young man questions the harsh new term little brats used instead of grade schoolers, finding it cruel to label elementary students that way. Suddenly, a woman urgently calls out, "Yoon Song," grabbing a man's shoulder to get his attention. A woman thanks the man for bringing Yoon Song, acknowledging how reckless the boy can be and implying it must have been difficult to manage him. Observing the woman's designer clothes and luxury earrings, the man realizes that Yoon Song is actually a wealthy young master, which clarifies the situation. The young man and his companions suddenly sense something alarming, their expressions shifting to shock and confusion. A powerful fist crashes down with immense force, signaling the start of a fierce confrontation. A monstrous figure crashes violently through the ceiling, sending debris and dust flying as the group below recoils in shock. The creature opens its massive mouth wide, emitting a terrifying, high-pitched screech that fills the air with menace. The outer wall of the shelter suddenly collapses, causing panic among the people inside. A young boy urgently tells the man with covered eyes that they need to run this time, emphasizing the danger they face. A desperate voice calls out urgently, revealing a deep longing and a plea that wasn't demanding much. The young man admits his simple wish to return to the familiar world he once knew, yearning to go back to the home he dearly missed. The young man wonders if asking for so little was unreasonable, staring at the worn and injured palm of his hand. A harsh voice addresses a boy, who snaps back defensively, insisting he doesn't want to be called a brat. A harsh voice questions the boy, asking why he insists on becoming a hunter despite being rich and suggests he could live safely and comfortably instead. The boy calmly replies that he doesn't have to fight, but reveals the painful reason behind his choice. He lost his father to a monster. A corrosion rift opened up in the underground bunker they thought was safe, revealing that no place on Earth is truly safe. Though he isn't strong yet and monsters still scare him, he vows to become the strongest hunter and eradicate all the corrosion rifts. The young boy passionately declares his determination to save the world despite the dangers. A reassuring voice encourages him, affirming that his dream to become a great hunter is not foolish but achievable. A voice tells the boy that he alone won't be able to save the world. A woman urgently tells Yoon-suk to stop and leave immediately, but he protests, worried about someone still in danger. The boy urgently calls out, trying to get someone's attention with a shout of, "Mister!" His expression shifts to one of sudden realization or shock as he processes what he sees or hears next. The boy declares his resolve with unwavering certainty. He reveals his purpose, saving the world. He admits that the task he's taken on is meant for someone with prior experience. The young man recalls his long battle in another world and how, after 2 decades of fighting monsters, he returned to Earth only to face a new threat in the form of a corrosion rift. He survived by relying on his previous life's knowledge and vowed to the boy that he would protect and save the world from the dangers ahead. Despite everything, he admits that he did nothing. He sits tensely at his computer, grinding away with a determined yet strained expression. The game concludes with a decisive win, signaling the protagonist's triumph. He quietly admits his victory, reflecting that it was too easy. He reaches for a drink, signaling a moment of calm after his easy victory. Reflecting on the idea that someone who has saved the world once can do it again, he dismisses it with a simple, indifferent "so what?" He admitted confidently to everyone that he wanted to save the world, but that desire quickly faded. The allure of games, abundant food, and a system that grants instant abilities distracted him from that goal. He realized that saving the world was already taken care of by hunters, so he decided to focus on simpler pleasures like ordering delivery. The original owner of this body, Yu Chansuk, was an employee at a logistics company, but he lost his job when the company went bankrupt due to a corrosion rift one day. Now that Yu Chansuk's severance pay has run out, he has already tried to find a new job, but there's no way he can get a normal job. The constant appearance of corrosion rifts has caused most companies to go out of business, making the current situation unsurprising. With no companies hiring new employees, finding a job to survive in modern society feels impossible, leaving him uncertain about what to do next. The phone screen lights up with a notification about hunter recruitment, catching his attention. He acknowledges his experience in this field as he looks toward the imposing Hunter Association building, considering his next move. A young man excitedly declares his intention to become a hunter as people stream out of a building, but another warns him not to get too excited since it's only the hunter selection process. A confident man explains that the selection test has become merely a formality nowadays, and candidates are chosen simply by demonstrating a unique skill. The confident man dismisses the candidates as all the same, calling them just a bunch of small fries. A woman with long dark hair questions if they are going to become too famous, hinting at the consequences of standing out. The confident man acknowledges this batch as the best so far, implying a notable difference from previous ones. Suddenly, Lee Hyun-suk appears, shocking those present as they recognize him immediately. The crowd reacts in shock upon recognizing Lee Se-eun from Janabi, a top-ranked hunter known for her formidable reputation. The onlookers express surprise that Janabi Guild sent Lee Se-eun herself to scout, especially since she was believed to be occupied subjugating a corrosion rift in Shorewin, sparking curiosity about her true purpose here. The profile of Han Sang-dash, a Hunter Academy graduate with the awakened ability of electrokinesis, is revealed. Two agents discuss her powers, clarifying that although she can manipulate electricity, she is a hunter candidate rather than a power generator, dismissing the idea that she could charge batteries. They say she's quite skilled with her ability, so I'm sure she'll be useful, though some remain doubtful. One insists that hunting in corrosion rifts demands true combat skills, catching the other off guard. Even if they excel at the academy, there are many cases where they don't achieve great results in actual combat. Practice and real combat are completely different. It's difficult for academy students who've only had safe training to endure the real thing. It'll take a long time for Han Sang to adapt. The character questions whether it's really acceptable to be absent for a whole week, wondering if the team leader is aware of this. Accepting the situation, the character decides to do the job given and urges others to raise their value enough to be selected. Someone observes that this candidate is quite interesting. They note that the candidate is a civilian who isn't even from the Hunter Academy. The situation is described as unprecedented, highlighting the rarity and shock of what is happening. The observer questions the immense courage required for the candidate to stand on this stage, emphasizing the candidate's boldness and determination. The announcer calls out candidate Yu Chansuk as he steps onto the stage, though he admits to himself that he is still not used to his new name. The match rules are announced, forbidding personal weapons and any actions that could cause life-threatening injuries. Since deciding to become a hunter, the first priority is to save the world that is destined to fall. At the same time, it's essential to live well and eat well, despite the daunting mission. The protagonist resolves that achieving good results in this tournament is essential to fulfilling his larger goal. The tournament officially begins as the announcer commands both candidates to take their positions, signaling the start of the competition. The moment the fight begins, the challenger launches a fierce attack, signaling the start of the intense battle. The opponent taunts confidently, mocking the challenger for being unable to gather mana and declaring that losing to him should be considered an honor. The challenger unleashes a blazing spear attack, asserting his dominance with fiery intensity. He proudly declares himself the undefeated spearmaster of the Hunter Academy, confident in his unmatched skill. The challenger's blazing spear attack suddenly disappears mid-air, leaving the crowd and opponent stunned. The challenger is shocked and confused, realizing his opponent has vanished without a trace. The opponent mocks the challenger's spear skills, calling him clumsy as he swiftly closes the distance. Without hesitation, the opponent delivers a powerful counterattack, striking the challenger forcefully in the abdomen. The challenger swiftly plants his foot, preparing to launch a counterattack. He delivers a powerful punch directly to his opponent's face, turning the tide of the fight. The opponent's face contorts in shock and pain from the powerful punch he just received. The challenger, surprised by how quickly the fight is ending, questions the speed of the outcome and reflects on his choice to use bare hands instead of a weapon. believing it would cause more damage. The challenger is stunned by how inexperienced his opponent seems, finding it shocking and doubting that this could be typical for hunters. A woman watches silently, troubled, and quietly questions the strange nature of the man they are observing. They reveal that the man's previous job was at a logistics company and note he has almost no mana accumulated in his body. The man in glasses reasons that to generate such power, one would need to accumulate mana over a long time, so if that's not the case, the result must be due to luck. The woman explains that the man is deliberately avoiding mana accumulation, signaling a calculated approach rather than random chance. The young man wonders how this can be possible but decides to prove his skills by ending the situation decisively, even if it feels uncomfortable. The young man strikes swiftly, leaving his opponent stunned and gasping in disbelief. He calmly promises the attack won't be fatal, maintaining control over the situation. The stunned opponent gasps in disbelief, unable to process the sudden turn of events. Lee Hyun-suk watches as the official announcement declares Chan-suk the winner. Lee Hyun-suk's expression hardens as he processes the outcome of the match, his focus sharpening despite the shock. Nearby, two men in suits react with surprise and animated discussion, clearly unsettled by the unexpected result. The two men in suits exchange surprised and uneasy glances, clearly unsettled by the unexpected outcome they just witnessed. A confident woman steps forward, determined to act while others remain distracted, expressing her desire to witness his true abilities firsthand. A man in a suit questions the woman as she confidently heads down the stairs, asking where she is going. She firmly states that she needs to see the association president, showing her determination to take immediate action. He notices that no matter how many matches he fights, all the opponents are about the same weak level, making him question what the Hunter Academy is actually teaching. Frustration grows as he wonders if there is even a single decent fighter among them. Some spectators express excitement about finally seeing a pretty female candidate in the competition. The announcer reveals the grand finale contender as Han Sang-dash, questioning if she can halt the unstoppable progress of the mysterious super rookie. The young man acknowledges Han Sang as the one who has gathered the most mana among all the competitors he has seen today. He admits this fact with a mix of surprise and respect, recognizing her as a formidable contender in the competition. Han Sang dismisses her opponent's claim that luck has brought him this far, mocking the cliché and implying his lack of substance. She observes his basic fighting style and concludes he must not possess any unique skills, preparing to reveal her own advantage. Han Sang warns that despite her dismissal of his luck, she will not go easy on him. The opponent awkwardly thanks her while internally admitting he has a unique skill he's holding back to avoid causing her harm. Han Sang exhales deeply, mentally preparing herself as the moment to engage arrives. She launches into action with a powerful strike, signaling the start of the fight with fierce determination. Han Sang channels electricity through her katana, preparing to unleash a powerful attack. She dashes forward, slashing with electrified speed to break through her opponent's defense. Han Sang's electrified katana attack narrowly misses as her opponent falls to the ground, evading the strike. She is shocked to realize he dodged the lightning-fast attack simply by jumping out of its path. He finds her method intriguing, realizing she magnetized the blade by running an electric current through it and the scabbard, then enhanced the sword draw with magnetic force to create a railgun effect. He concedes her skills are the best he's seen but warns that she overlooked the most crucial aspect. He points out that she was too focused on attacking quickly and failed to consider the right moment to strike. He recalls how she laid down a magnetic rail in the empty air to power her attack, but timing was the crucial factor she overlooked. He ridicules the notion of falling for an attack whose trajectory is obvious, emphasizing that no one wise would be so careless. Han Sang-dash, determined and tense, cautions him against arrogance as she readies herself for the next move. Han Sang charges forward with a fierce attack, asserting she can win without using any special technique. Her opponent easily dodges the strike, taunting her that he already avoided her fastest attack and won't be hit this time. Han Sang channels a powerful energy into her katana, her eyes glowing fiercely as she prepares to strike with renewed force. She unleashes a devastating slash that sends a massive shockwave crashing forward, shattering the ground and overwhelming her opponent with raw power. Han Sang is pushing herself too hard, forcing her body to scrape together mana despite the risk of severe physical damage. She suddenly stops her attack and tells her opponent that it's time to end the fight. Han Sang instructs her opponent to raise his left hand if he feels any pain. She delivers a strong blow that slams him into the wall with great force. The opponent screams in pain, clearly struggling to endure the impact of Han Sang's powerful strike. Han Sang clenches her fist tightly, preparing for her next move with unwavering determination. Han Sang unleashes a rapid series of punches, pressing her advantage with fierce determination. Her final punch lands solidly, knocking the opponent down and solidifying her control over the battle. The opponent's face contorts in shock as they grasp the severity of Han Sang's decisive strike. The opponent falls hard onto the ground, their sword slipping away, signaling Han Sang's clear victory. Witnesses express shock that someone has overwhelmed Han Sang-dash, the academy's top student, questioning where such a person could have come from. The young man reflects that although Han Sang was more skilled than others, her reliance on mana over physical training likely led to her defeat. Han Sang struggles to rise despite her injuries, showing determination to continue the fight. The young man watches her closely, surprised that she still has the will to keep going after such a harsh defeat. The young man tells Han Sang to raise her left hand if it hurts, and he is stunned when she actually does. Han Sang begins to move, prompting a shocked reaction from an observer who demands to know what is going on. An announcer urgently interrupts, declaring that the tournament schedule has been changed. The winner, Yu Chansuk, is told to take a short break, leaving him confused since he thought the match was already finished. The announcer declares that Yu Chansuk will soon compete in a special match against an active hunter. The match was arranged by the association president's special permission, and the crowd is asked to give it their full support. The opponent has already been revealed on a monitor visible only to the audience, and their impressive reputation is evident from the crowd's amazed reactions. The challenger wonders if the opponent personally stepped up to test their abilities, reflecting that such challenges are common both in this world and the other world. Han Sang calls out Yu Chansuk by name, making it clear she knows who he is. She apologizes for arriving without notice and admits that testing his skills firsthand was necessary. A confident woman steps forward, introducing herself as Lee Se-eun from the Janabi Guild, signaling a new challenger entering the scene. She acknowledges that the current stage has been too small for Yu Chansuk's talents and boldly proposes a match against him, challenging him directly. He acknowledges that Lee Se-eun's challenge came suddenly and offers understanding if it feels overwhelming. He recognizes Lee Se-eun as a top-tier hunter ranked 10th worldwide and admits her aura and composure prove she is a genuine professional, making the upcoming fight difficult even with his spear. A quiet but firm resolve emerges, signaling readiness to face the challenge despite its difficulty. The character decisively declares to begin the confrontation now, surprising those around with the sudden urgency. She reveals she hasn't used much stamina yet and feels she might be able to perceive something new, showing growing confidence. She recognizes the opponent's excitement and decides that fighting now is the best chance to achieve the top result in the tournament. She is identified as the ideal opponent to challenge and elevate his abilities. He confidently decides to increase his effort and see how far he can go in this fight. The audience is startled by a sudden change in the tournament's flow, sensing that something critical is about to happen. The warrior Lee suddenly charges forward holding her weapon, our boy hardly shielding himself against her attack. She unleashes a sudden, overwhelming attack that leaves her opponent stunned, forcing him to question the surprising strength behind her movements. The warrior Lee delivers a fierce kick that propels her opponent far away, demonstrating her overwhelming strength. She reflects on her condition, noting that her speed has dropped considerably compared to the beginning of the match. Our hero admits that the problem isn't a lack of openings, but that his body can't physically take advantage of them. The warrior Lee mocks his tiredness, acknowledging his surprising stamina while expressing disappointment that he's already worn out. She steps forward decisively, her presence commanding the attention of the crowd around her. She swings her massive sword with force, declaring her intent to make things easier for her opponent. Our hero realizes he has almost no mana stored and that the atmosphere offers little mana to draw from, leaving him at a severe disadvantage. Despite his reluctance, he decides to use a powerful technique called Paradox Flame to turn the tide of the battle. The warrior Lee's eyes widen sharply as she senses an imminent threat approaching her. She swiftly counters the attack, smashing the ground with a powerful strike that sends debris flying and forces her opponent back. She charges forward through the dust and debris, pressing her attack relentlessly. She doubts her opponent's ability to evade her strike, convinced she swung with enough force to land a hit. She then notices a strange dark flame swirling around the protagonist and wonders what it could be. The dark flame is identified as the Paradox Flame, an unusual and powerful energy that sparks unpredictably. The MC reveals that the Paradox Flame is his specialty, a power he relied on frequently before returning to Earth. He explains that unlike normal flames, this black flame does not burn matter, as shown by his unscathed clothes despite the flame swirling around him. He reveals that his flames consume abstract concepts he designates as fuel, not physical matter, explaining why his clothes remain untouched despite the black flames swirling around him. He acknowledges his current limits prevent burning complex concepts like self or memory, so he decides to burn a simpler concept and swiftly moves forward. The warrior Lee notices a change in her opponent's speed and questions if he has gotten faster. Our hero charges with his spear shouting fatigue as he attacks. The warrior realizes with shock that her opponent has recovered much faster than she expected. She immediately launches a fierce counterattack, striking with full force to overwhelm him. She notices the mana concentration in the air fluctuating unpredictably, despite the arena settings remaining unchanged, leading her to suspect an unusual phenomenon. She realizes that, like fire releasing heat when burning matter, the Paradox Flame emits mana as it consumes abstract concepts, explaining the strange mana fluctuations. The Paradox Flame is ignited using mana, and it consumes the user's fatigue to produce more mana in return. This creates an endless cycle where the paradox flame continuously fuels itself by burning the user's exhaustion. The warrior declares that her specialty is overwhelming her enemies with relentless power. She unleashes a crushing blow that breaks the ground, showcasing her formidable strength. She challenges her opponent, questioning if they intend to maintain their relentless assault. Our boy advances steadily, determined and unyielding, like someone who clings tightly and refuses to let go. Worn and torn, our hero insists he can still keep going despite the ongoing war of attrition. He provocatively asks the warrior if she likes guys who don't know when to quit, testing her determination. But she firmly declares her hatred for those who refuse to quit. The narration explains that just as a burned tree leaves only ashes, the paradox flame also leaves a residue, implying that even when everything seems destroyed, something remains. The paradox flame will only vanish after a certain time, and currently, for hours and 17 minutes remain until it disappears. After a long and grueling fight, our boy begs for mercy, leading to their forfeit and crowning hunter Lee Se-eun as the victor. Lee Se-eun steadies herself, golding a lollipop. Two men in suits react with alarm, shouting out in surprise at the sudden appearance of a lollipop. Lee Se-eun offers the lollipop as a reward, mentioning she included her business card with it. The business card reveals the name Lee Se-eun and identifies them as a partner hunter for Janabi LLC Team 3, prompting surprise and recognition. She tells him to call her later to discuss the details, leaving the conversation open-ended for now. The announcer declares the end of the hunter selection trials and calls the winner, Yu Chansuk, to the stage to receive his award, while a voice wonders if Janabi is a hunter's agency. Later, our boy eating the lollipop fiercely, he examines his smartphone, amazed that hunter licenses are now digital and integrated with advanced features like community markets and emergency alerts. The MC marvels at the digital hunter license's comprehensive features. Suddenly a voice calls out to him. A muscled hunter greets the young man with a confident smile, complimenting him on his appearance in person compared to on camera. The MC notices the other hunter's imposing height, estimating him to be over 2 meters tall, and asks for his identity. The tall hunter introduces himself as Yoon Song-hyeon from the Taebeek Guild by handing over his business card and inviting the young man to join his team. The tall hunter confidently assures that gaining experience under him will make the young man shine, and the MC senses honesty in his words. Suddenly, our hero remembers the moment the hunter Lee gave him her number. He hesitates, admitting he has a prior engagement and cannot give a firm answer yet, deciding to think it over before making a decision. The tall hunter laughs confidently, reassuring him that he never expected an immediate answer and is willing to wait. He places a firm hand on the young man's shoulder, signaling the seriousness of the moment. He warns him to carefully consider his decision, emphasizing the importance of thinking it through properly. The tall hunter says goodbye, signaling his departure with a simple "see you around," leaving our hero quiet. He then resolves firmly to skip Taebeek, deciding not to face whatever awaits there. Late calling the hunter Lee, Yu Chansuk introduces himself and inquires about where he should come. He is directed to meet at the hut, on the second floor of the Hunter Association building, and told the location will be sent to him. The protagonist arrives at the location called the hut, recognizing the sign and confirming the place. Inside, a cheerful woman warmly welcomes the protagonist to the hut, setting a friendly atmosphere. The hunter Lee greets the protagonist warmly, noting their early arrival and inviting them to sit down. Our boy reflects on the cafe's unusual name, and the hunter wonders if something significant has occurred. The protagonist reveals that one person, a really huge guy, tried to recruit him for a guild. The hunter explains that the man was Yoon Song-hyeon of Taebeek, and because he showed interest, no other guild dared to make an offer. The protagonist questions if the same situation applies to Janabi, implying a parallel in recruitment interest. The hunter Lee calmly denies any intention of recruiting the protagonist, leaving the reason for her interest ambiguous. She proposes working independently as a freelancer without joining any guild, which makes the protagonist realize he might not need to belong to a guild. She reveals that Yoon Song-hyeon was probably planning to offer him a junior position, prompting him to question what that entails. He questions the meaning of junior and partner hunter, recalling that he isn't from the Hunter Academy. She clarifies that hunters in a guild are ranked as junior, senior, and partner, presenting a pyramid to explain the hierarchy. Juniors and seniors work under partner hunters, who lead teams and can be seen as salaried employees within the guild's hierarchy. Partner hunters differ by holding shares in the guild and receiving a portion of its net profits, making them more like business owners than employees. The guild system was modeled after law firms, reflecting the structure established by the first hunter who founded the guilds. This means that becoming a partner hunter doesn't require progressing through the traditional junior and senior ranks within a guild. The MC realizes that by becoming famous and achieving respectable results, guilds or partners will seek him out automatically. The hunter Lee confirms his understanding with a cheerful exactly, while offering him candy, leaving him puzzled about her gesture. Our MC worries that without connections or experience, he won't receive any proper requests. But she confidently offers to help him with that, promising her assistance free of charge. Our boy expresses confusion over why she would go to such lengths to help him. She explains that her goal is for him to remember the place called Janabi when he eventually gains enough reputation to join a guild, implying she wants to create a lasting connection by putting him in her debt. She offers him a sealed envelope, inviting him to look inside but leaving the choice entirely up to him. Inside, he finds a request from Incheon City about Jiadongdo Island, where a corrosion zone appeared 2 years ago after a failed attempt to close a corrosion rift. He confirms that his task is to patrol Jiadongdo Island to detect and eliminate any new corrosion rifts that may have appeared. The mission is set to begin in 1 month, offering a payment of 5 million won upfront and an additional 15 million won upon successful completion. He reflects on the danger of the mission, noting that the payment offered is not very high considering the life-threatening nature of the job. She advises that if the pay feels unfair, the solution is to become stronger and famous, as money will then come easily regardless of how much one already has. She demands a straightforward answer, pushing our boy to decide. The young man starts to speak, revealing his hesitation as he struggles to reply. Later in her car, someone questions the hunter Lee about the nature of that guy. She identifies him as Yu Chon-suk, a civilian who defeated opponents in a weapons-required tournament without using any weapons. Someone commented with a simple, "not bad." She dismisses the compliment, insisting that "not bad" doesn't fit since he practically gave his opponent every opening. She boasts that his opponent lasted 4 whole hours against him, highlighting the unexpected endurance. The guy on the phone was surprised, asking if it's because she limited her power. She reminded him that she's a veteran hunter with 10 years of experience. She reflects on her experience, noting that all her skills were forged in harsh, unforgiving environments. She admits that while she expected to easily overpower her opponent, lasting 4 hours was beyond anything she anticipated, making her doubt she will ever encounter such a formidable adversary again. The story moves to Incheon City, specifically Jiadongdo Island, marking a change in setting. It becomes clear that no matter how highly one regards him, there are boundaries to his capabilities. The Jiadongdo Island mission explicitly required hunters with prior mission experience, raising doubts about the suitability of newcomers. Despite his excellent skills, questions remain whether he can keep up when paired with seasoned veteran hunters. The hunter Lee assures the boss not to worry about the newcomer's lack of experience. She reveals that the newcomer has been paired with a reliable partner, earning the boss's reluctant trust in the plan. She wonders aloud what Yu Chon-suk will be like if he reaches her level, preparing to share a harsh truth. She states that if Yu Chon-suk reaches her level, he will be capable of defeating even the boss. 1 month ago, a man carrying a heavy load approaches apartment 1506, preparing for a difficult task ahead. He struggles with the weight, questioning what was ordered as he rings the doorbell, signaling the start of a challenging mission. He announces the arrival of the next package, signaling a new delivery is about to be made. The door creaks open as the package finally arrives, confirming the awaited moment has come. The MC contemplates how unbelievably long the wait has been. The suitcase snaps shut, marking the start of what's to come. Our boy's intense gaze sharpens as he prepares himself mentally for the challenge ahead. He confidently grips a new spear, assuring himself that this weapon will be sufficient for the battle to come. He introduces the elixir as a vital emergency potion containing condensed mana, essential for urgent situations. Unlike the usual slow absorption of mana from the environment, the elixir enables rapid mana intake and storage in the body. The character reveals they use mana differently by skipping storage and directly absorbing it from the air, which removes any limit on their mana supply. As mana flows in and out, it gradually strengthens the channels it passes through, allowing the character to handle and use more mana. The only downside is that until the mana channels grow, the amount I can handle is small, making it difficult to produce a strong output quickly. Since I don't have time to wait right now, it seems best to store some mana before using it. If I train with this stored mana for about a month, I should be able to grow my channels just as much as I need. The scene moves to Incheon Jiadongdo Island. A group of people stand in line outside a building. Someone's phone screen displays a QR code, signaling the start of an identity verification process. A man in a suit confirms the identity of hunter Yu Chon-suk and assigns him to Squad 8. Later, our boy made it to the Squad 8 location. Among the squad members, a young man expresses his nervousness about their upcoming mission, while another tries to stay optimistic about the month's pay. Yu Chon-suk is called by name, snapping him out of his sleepy state and confirming this is number 8. Han Sang observes that Yu Chon-suk's hair looks calmer now, explaining that it was only static electricity before, and this is her usual appearance. She acknowledges that they are in the same squad and suggests working together during the mission, but our boy questions why he should cooperate. She explains that he is stronger than her, so she wants to watch and learn from him, prompting a playful, self-deprecating response from him about being admired. Han Sang questions him about his chronic shoulder dislocation, warning him it's dangerous and teasing him to take better care of himself. Our MC internally notes that Han Sang has no sense of humor, recalling a similar moment during a past match. Suddenly, a voice calls out for their attention. The squad leader announces that since everyone has gathered, they will begin the mission briefing. He adds that because some hunters are participating for the first time, he will also explain the necessary terminologies, asking for everyone's understanding. Corrosion rifts are categorized into Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and unclassified, with Class 1 being the most dangerous. The first corrosion rift to appear in any area is designated as Alpha. The Alpha Corrosion Rift on Jiadongdo Island is located at the church in the northern part of Insuri. Although it remains unclassified, its power is expected to increase over time, so everyone is advised to avoid approaching it. The team receives orders to patrol Yupniri and Jiadongmayan to find and destroy any additional corrosion rifts. A squad member expresses doubt about assigning an elimination mission to a team that includes a rookie. They have arrived at Jiadongdo Island, marking the start of their mission in this new location. The protagonist senses a chilling energy from the island, feeling as if his blood is turning cold, signaling the danger that awaits. He dismisses the tension around them, thinking that everyone else is being overly dramatic. As they walk forward among a group of armed individuals, a sudden sharp sound breaks the uneasy silence, signaling the start of the mission. The situation on the island is being reported to the offshore control room, establishing a communication link for support. The message concludes with a wish of good luck to the hunters, encouraging them to reach out if they need assistance. The group agrees on a plan to scout 2 specific areas over the next week to gather necessary information. One member questions the plan, prompting a moment of uncertainty among the group. The group agrees to set up a base at Wagesa Temple and operate from that location. One member challenges the newcomer, asking if he's a rookie and why they chose Wagesa Temple as their base. Our hero explains that from Wagesa Temple, they can see Yupniri, and from the peak of Wagizan, Jiadongmayan is visible directly. The old temple building is still intact, so it can be used for lodging. Isn't it obvious? 2 members challenge this choice, arguing there are plenty of places to stay nearby and worry about the risk of getting surrounded after climbing a mountain unnecessarily. Our MC insists that since they aren't fighting thousands of enemies, getting surrounded there is unlikely. One member openly refuses to follow the orders of an inexperienced hunter, dismissing the logic behind the plan. Then someone suggests our hero to act separately. Later, Tay group advancing forward in the forest. Our hero, followed by 2 members, reflects that he expected Han Sang to follow. He then wonders who the guy next to him is. His mana is also higher than Sang Dash. He directly questions Kim Min-jae about his reasons for following them, seeking clarity on his intentions. Kim Min-jae replied that it's their first time, so he was worried to let them 2 rookies act alone, prompting our hero to thank him, thinking that at least there is one decent person here. Our boy suddenly notices something that catches his attention sharply. Reacting immediately, she quickly stops. He urgently calls out to stop the advancing group, raising his hand to halt them. He instructs them to quietly check what lies beyond the other side, prompting a confused response. Kim cautiously peers from behind cover, his expression tense as he senses something unexpected ahead. Through the dense foliage, a group of strange, humanoid creatures emerges, revealing a hidden threat lurking beyond the trees. Kim spots the large number of creatures ahead and nervously suggests taking a detour to avoid them. Our boy urges him to stay calm and asks about his unique skill, implying they might consider fighting despite the overwhelming odds. The MC insists that fighting corrosion creatures is a hunter's natural role and presses again to learn the young man's unique skill. Kim reveals his confidence lies in flame magic, specifically the fireball skill. Our hero instructs Kim to initiate the attack on his signal, catching him off guard. Han Sang hesitates, asking what she should do, while Kim nervously confirms if she will act as ordered. He warns that confronting 50 enemies with just 3 of them is reckless and reminds that this is their first mission. The MC insists they should contact other hunters while they still can, but admits help won't arrive quickly enough. He explains that unlike their group, which left directly from Wagesa Temple, the other hunters are currently searching along the coast. He warns that using the radio to call for help is reckless because there's no guarantee the hunters who hear it will arrive, and if the monsters scatter while waiting, they could endanger those other hunters. Kim realizes that hunters nearby may delay their response because of the previous confrontation. Faced with this, he concludes they must handle the situation themselves by launching a surprise attack. The plan is laid out quickly. Min-jae will launch a fireball attack at the center, while the MC covers the flanks to block any counterattacks. Han Sang acknowledges the strategy, prompting Kim to marvel at the detailed plan and wonder about the protagonist's extensive battle experience, questioning who he really is. The hostile creatures close in menacingly, their glowing eyes fixed on the approaching threat. Seizing the moment, Min-jae launches a blazing fireball forward with fierce determination, shouting the signal to begin the attack. He unleashes a powerful fiery attack, igniting the battlefield with intense flames. The flames engulf the enemy, causing a shocked reaction as the attack lands with overwhelming force. The flames continue to rage fiercely, consuming everything in their path and leaving charred remains behind. Kim signals that he needs a moment to prepare his next fireball, while our hero urges him to shoot as soon as he's ready. Kim responds firmly, signaling his readiness to act immediately. Our boy swiftly moves forward with determination, preparing to confront the advancing threat. He prioritizes efficiency in battle, knowing that dividing roles is essential to achieve maximum effectiveness. Until the next fireball is ready, he will take care of the other enemies to keep them from getting close to Kim Min-jae. He acknowledges that he cannot block all the enemies alone and must act quickly to fend them off. He understands that dividing roles among allies is crucial to handle the threat effectively and protect Kim Min-jae. Han Sang swiftly draws her katana, preparing to confront the advancing enemies with decisive action. She steadies her breath, focusing her energy as sparks of power begin to ignite around her. Kim channels his energy into a blazing aura and announces he is ready to engage. Our boy commits to moving aside, urging him to take the shot without hesitation. Kim channels his energy into a powerful, fiery attack, preparing to strike with full force. The attack detonates with a massive explosion, sending debris flying and shaking the surrounding area. The MC tightens his grip on his weapon, preparing himself for the next move. A fierce command to kill both opponents echoes as the protagonist raises his weapon, ready to strike. A sudden explosion disrupts the calm, sending dust and debris into the air beneath the trees. The impact lands heavily on the ground, signaling the arrival or movement of a powerful presence. Our hero stands silently amid the settling dust, his gaze fixed ahead as the aftermath of the explosion lingers in the air. Our hero acknowledging that everyone did their best, but he stops mid-sentence, his eyes widen in shock. Kim narrows his eyes, sweat beading on his face as he aims his gun steadily, our hero calling his name in surprise. Kim nervously asks others to step aside, prompting confusion about his sudden action of pulling out a strap. He then fires his weapon. He explains that after the mission ends and the area is secured, a contracted junk dealer will come to collect the microchips implanted in the corpses. He clarifies that the junk dealer handles the bulky and heavy byproducts from the corpses because it's difficult for them to recover these materials themselves. The junk dealers arrive after the mission ends to collect microchips tagged on the corpses and gather anything valuable from the remains. They then appraise the collected items, sell them, and divide the profits among themselves. Our hero questions the trustworthiness of the junk dealers, emphasizing the need to find a reliable dealer and formalize the relationship with a contract. Kim praises Chansuk for his impressive performance, expressing surprise that the three of them managed to handle 50 opponents together. A monstrous figure crashes down violently, forcing them to brace themselves against the impact. After the fall, our boy quickly checks on Kim, asking if he's okay. The group tightens their stance, and Kim sharply asks what the new threat is. A monstrous creature bares its menacing teeth, confirming the danger is far from over. The MC narrows his eyes and begins to assess the threat before them. He identifies the monstrous creature as a mid-boss, signaling a significant challenge ahead. He clenches his teeth and mutters, "Damn it," revealing his growing frustration with the unfolding threat. He stares at the imposing creature and wonders if this is the leader of the monsters they encountered before, as the beast growls menacingly. He notes the monster's mana is on a completely different level from the smaller ones and declares he will handle it alone, ordering others not to interfere. The two companions realize the monster is focused on them and propose a pincer attack to buy time, retreat, and report the situation. The MC urgently orders the others to stop talking and retreat immediately, warning them that staying could mean death. His fierce command shocks the companions, forcing them to realize the grave danger they are in and prompting them to act quickly. He resolves to handle the situation by himself, knowing he can safely use Paradox Flame without risking friendly fire and finish the battle quickly. He challenges his enemy with a fierce taunt, urging them to attack him directly. After some time, the two companions debate whether they should intervene, noting that he appears to be in trouble despite his confident challenge. Han Sang insists there is no need to intervene, observing that although Yu Chansuk seems to be pushed back, the situation is not as dire as it appears. She explains that Yu Chansuk has not been hit even once, demonstrating his skill and control in the fight despite the pressure. She highlights that the fight's dynamics are deeper than they appear. She notes that the attacks are difficult to dodge, but Yu Chansuk skillfully dodges while launching his own attacks. Each time the spear strikes, black flames erupt, raising questions about their mysterious nature. The increasing flames slow the monster's movements significantly, revealing a strategic effect. Yu Chansuk's fight seemed difficult at first, but he has now gained the upper hand and is playing with the monster. Han Sang doubts that Yu Chansuk is a rookie hunter as she struggles to understand how he can be this skilled. Our hero launches a powerful strike against the monster, showing his confidence and control in the fight. He follows up with a swift, decisive attack, gripping his weapon tightly as he moves to press his advantage. The spear is launched powerfully into the air, signaling a sudden shift in the battle's momentum. Han Sang reacts with shock as the spear hurtles toward the monster, realizing the unexpected tactic being used against it. Han Sang, urgently warns Chansuk to watch out as the monster charges fiercely toward him. Our boy faces the monster head-on, his expression tense as the creature lunges dangerously close. He observes the monster starting to fracture, sensing its imminent defeat. The monster crashes down heavily, its body shattered and the fight seemingly over. Our boy notes with disbelief that the monster can still move despite having all its strength burned away. Realizing the fight isn't over, he resolves to finish the monster off completely. Han Sang and Kim watch in stunned silence, their expressions revealing shock and confusion at the sudden turn of events. Kim reflects on the battle, realizing that although it seemed like Hunter Yu Chansuk was losing ground, the monster has now been defeated, leaving him bewildered about what truly happened. Our boy calls out to Kim Min-jae, who responds promptly, indicating his readiness. He questions the normalcy of a monster like this appearing on Jiadongdo Island, noting that such a presence would only be possible if the rift was at least grade 3, which it is not. He recalls that the pre-mission briefing stated the Alpha Corrosion Rift on Jiadongdo Island was unclassified, which contradicts the presence of such a powerful monster. This leads to the conclusion that the Alpha Corrosion Rift must have escalated to grade 3, explaining the monster's appearance. Han Sang recalls the briefing and urges to think rationally, concluding that if the rift isn't grade 3, there is no other explanation for the current situation. Kim reacts with shock, emphasizing the huge difference between an unclassified rift and a grade 3 one, and begins to consider the implications if the rift has indeed escalated. The number of hunters who can make it back alive will be close to none. Despite the dire situation, our hero rejects the call to save the others, even when urged that their skills could handle a grade 3 threat. He refuses the plea to save every hunter on the island, insisting he has limits and cannot do everything alone. He clarifies that their mission is to identify and eliminate new corrosion rifts, not to save every hunter in danger, and warns that not everyone can be expected to survive such work. Han Sang questions Yu Chansuk, asking how he would react if he were trapped in the same dire circumstances as the hunters. She argues that feeling unfairness and resentment would naturally lead him to want to be saved, suggesting that compassion should compel him to act. He admits he understands the emotions people experience but insists that what matters most is the outcome. He states that certain deaths are unavoidable, and no matter what one thinks or feels in those moments, death is the final result. He warns against being swayed by desperation, emphasizing the need for a clear mind. He insists that survival in this harsh world requires abandoning such a mindset. Later at night, the group confirms the building is intact and free from any signs of corrupted beings, bringing them a sense of relief. Our boy asks if anything can be seen inside. Kim replied that it's dark, so nothing special. Our boy adds that it's good, thanks to the lights. They can see the other hunters' locations. He realizes that using lights is risky because it exposes their position to others nearby. If there were just small fries, it wouldn't matter if your position was revealed, but if another one of those things shows up, the risk becomes critical. Yu Chansuk sends a warning to all squads, explaining that the Alpha Corrosion Rift may have escalated to grade 3 and urging everyone to avoid using lights recklessly to prevent danger. Our hero and his group confirm that destroying the core of the corrosion rift will eliminate all corrupted beings by cutting off the energy sustaining the corrupted zone. He quickly concludes that the solution is straightforward. He must destroy the corrosion rift itself. After some time, our group closes their eyes for some rest. Our hero reaches out and places a device near his group. He recalled that the device would sound an alarm if a monster approached, allowing him to let others rest without worry. Having confirmed the location of the Alpha Corrosion Rift during the briefing, he felt confident that things would proceed smoothly. He suddenly senses something alarming, his eyes widening in shock. Suddenly he stops. He admits to having jinxed the situation, realizing his mistake. Energy summoned in his hand, while he says, "You again?" Our hero steels himself, focusing intently as he prepares for the confrontation ahead. With determined gaze signaling he is ready to face the mysterious figure. A towering, ominous creature looms before the young man, who realizes he has never seen this face before. The Hunter Association Situation Room is alerted that several hunters from Team 5 have gone silent and are presumed dead. Reports confirm monsters are coordinating their attacks, and a casualty from Team 3 is verified, deepening the crisis around the unclassified corrosion rift. A man urgently commands the activation of the emergency contact network and calls for reinforcements, instructing to send an urgent cooperation request to all hunters nearby. An alert interrupts the response as a man reports that someone is approaching the Alpha Corrosion Rift, causing immediate concern. The command center scrambles to contact the individual approaching the Alpha Corrosion Rift, demanding an immediate halt and urgently questioning their identity. The approaching figure is revealed as Hunter Yu Chanseok from Team 8, known for being the first to identify the Corrosion Rift upgrade. The command center orders an immediate connection to Hunter Yu Chanseok's terminal, stressing that only he can provide answers about the unprecedented Corrosion Rift upgrade. Hunter Yu Chanseok urgently shouts that the Corrosion Rift is advancing much faster than expected, signaling a rapidly worsening crisis. Yu Chanseok angrily criticizes the command center for labeling the threat unclassified and failing to investigate properly, warning them he barely dodges the danger and will carve a corrosion rift into their faces when he returns. It is confirmed that Yu Chanseok is alive, but his paradox flame in its current state is not strong enough to kill the corrosion rift. The plan is to weaken the powerful entity by chipping away at its health with the paradox flame before delivering the final blow with a spear. Despite the strategy, the beast proves resilient and refuses to be defeated, forcing a tense confrontation. He acknowledges that drawing too much mana from Jiadongdo Island for the giant bat has weakened its power considerably. Since leaving the island is impossible, he resolves to find a place on Jiadongdo Island where he can draw mana again. Suddenly his eyes widen as he detects a significant presence nearby. He locates a glowing mana source hidden in the forest and declares, "Found it." Our hero propels himself upward, spear ready, confronting a fierce purple beast surrounded by lightning. He commands the creature to keep pace, emphasizing his resolve to press the attack relentlessly. He pauses with a sharp focus, realizing there is something crucial he needs to verify. At the command center, the concern deepens as they discover the GPS signal has been lost, signaling a critical problem. Hunter Yu Chanseok has entered the Alpha Corrosion Rift, triggering a tense reaction. He surveys the surroundings and realizes the rift is cleaner than he initially thought. He reflects on the size of unclassified and Grade 3 corrosion rifts, questioning how much larger Grades 1 and 2 could be. A dark, ominous figure clenches its fist, signaling a looming threat nearby. "Now that your tour of the corrosion rift is over, shall we put an end to our relationship?" Our hero declares he is not the clingy type as it confronts Han Sang-dash. The monstrous creature bares its teeth aggressively, signaling an imminent attack. Our MC clutching his weapon, revealing a major vulnerability in Paradox Flame. The spreading corruption seems to affect every living being except the one holding the weapon, revealing a unique immunity. Despite the corruption's reach, the MC remains unaffected, even when the dark energy visibly pulses around their weapon. He reflects on the corruption's uncontrollable growth, knowing it will render the weapon unusable if it escalates too far. Ignoring the risk, our boy aggressively attacks, unleashing dark energy to strike down their opponent. Our hero unleashes a powerful burst of dark energy, striking his opponent with overwhelming force. The corrupted energy visibly consumes his opponent, causing a violent transformation as the dark power surges through their body. The MC resolves that fighting alone means having no weaknesses to exploit. As the dark energy continues to surge, he braces himself, knowing the crucial moment of the battle is about to begin. He channels a growing blue energy from within his chest, preparing to unleash his power. The blue energy crackles violently around his chest, signaling the imminent release of his full strength. The mana absorbed from the source spreads throughout the protagonist's entire body, expanding and strengthening his mana pathways. He calmly breathes in, feeling the intensified energy coursing within him as he prepares to unleash his power. He notes that the mana absorption is more efficient than he expected, his confidence growing as blue energy surges around him. The fierce, shadowy beast wreathed in purple flames growls menacingly, signaling a rising threat nearby. A glowing blue circle of energy forms in the night sky, signaling a powerful magical event unfolding. Our hero appears with a knowing smirk, acknowledging the source of the energy as he steps forward confidently. He appears calmly among monstrous creatures, declaring that backup has arrived. He asserts that overwhelming him with sheer numbers is now futile, standing ready with a glowing weapon. Dark energy surges violently around him as the ground cracks beneath him, signaling a powerful force gathering. Our hero reflects on his increased strength compared to before but admits it still pales against his past self in another world, then questions the location of the rift's core, recalling information about the strongest corrosion creature from Hunter Kim Min-jae. A figure then commands him to stop, a shadowy presence gripping a weapon behind him, attacking him. Our hero narrows his eyes with sharp focus, preparing to confront the threat directly. He launches a powerful strike, cutting through the dark energy with decisive force. The enemy weapon strikes the ground with force. The protagonist reveals that he anticipated the attack, complimenting the fighter's intelligence for waiting out the Paradox Flame's effect. He acknowledges that the core of the corrosion rift has reached a new, more dangerous level, and the monster figure ominously declares that the protagonist will die. Our MC assesses the situation calmly, deciding that at this level, they should be capable of executing a 4-hit combo. He launches forward with swift determination, gripping his weapon tightly as he prepares to strike. He delivers a powerful, precise slash, cutting through the air with lethal intent. Our MC's weapon strikes with overwhelming force, piercing through his opponent's defense in a decisive blow. The impact causes a sharp, sparkling reaction on the weapon, signaling the intensity and precision of his attack. The weapon strike shatters the opponent's defense with a brilliant burst of energy, confirming the overwhelming power behind the protagonist's attack. The protagonist, with a focused look, unleashes a powerful energy strike that violently sends the opponent flying backward. TH Beast's mask cracks under the force of the attack, signaling the devastating impact of the MC's dual orbit spear technique. A blue trajectory forms, tracing the path of his initial strike and replicating it 4 times in succession. By attacking alongside this trajectory, our MC executes a straightforward technique that delivers 4 consecutive strikes. The blue trajectory might attack a beat late, changing the expected timing of the strike. By striking late, it completes a tricky 2-part spear attack that is hard to dodge. The opponent struggles to respond to the delayed pincer attack, showing a moment of surprise and vulnerability. Taking advantage of the opponent's error, the MC launches a powerful strike aimed to exploit the opening. He declares with resolve that the fight is over. He immediately follows through by unleashing a powerful, swift attack aimed directly at his opponent, exploiting the opening created by the earlier pincer move. He releases a powerful, radiant strike aimed to conclude the battle swiftly. The opponent's energy ignites and fractures, showing it resists fading away as expected. The protagonist inspects a radiant, broken object in his hands, wondering if it could be a box. He firmly begins opening the small purple box. He reacts with shock and hesitation, realizing something critical is unfolding. An urgent report reveals that the corrupted zone is rapidly expanding from the center of Jiadongdo Island, causing panic as the hunters' positions are compromised and Team 9's signal is lost. Hunters responding to the reinforcement request have run into monsters, complicating the landing on Jiadongdo Island because of the interference. The man's expression shifts to shock as he wonders if this is the moment everything changes. The man fears that unless a miracle occurs, he will be forced to helplessly watch the hunters be wiped out. Suddenly, a message arrives from Hunter Yuchanseok, who has entered the Alpha Corrosion Rift, prompting urgent questions about its contents. The man decides to broadcast the critical update about the Alpha Corrosion Rift on the main screen to inform everyone immediately. The broadcast confirms that the Alpha Corrosion Rift on Jiadongdo Island has been completely eliminated, along with all the corrosion creatures that confronted the hunters. The manager reacts in disbelief, calling the event a miracle. He struggles to understand how such a miracle could have happened. The protagonist breathes in deeply, appreciating the calm and pleasant night air as he looks up at the starry sky. Han Sang unleashes a powerful energy strike that violently sends her opponent flying backward, shattering their defense with overwhelming force. She follows up immediately with a swift katana slash, maintaining relentless pressure to finish the battle decisively. She grips her katana firmly, channeling electric energy through the blade to maintain her offensive momentum. Breathing heavily, she acknowledges the growing number of foes and reflects on the disappearance of Yuchanseok. Han Sang is startled as Kim calls her name. Together with Kim, Han Sang confronts a massive crowd of enemies and wonders if they can escape alive. Kim Min-jae is pushed to his absolute limit, struggling to keep up amid the relentless pressure, while Han Sang feels the weight of exhaustion and injury, uncertain how much longer she can maintain her grip on the fight. A monstrous creature lunges forward with a terrifying screech, its glowing eyes and sharp teeth signaling an imminent attack. Han Sang reacts swiftly, dodging the creature's assault with focused determination despite her exhaustion and injuries. She senses a sudden shift in the battle, her focus sharpening as she reacts to an unexpected development. She realizes her legs are failing her, struggling to support her as multiple monstrous foes close in for the attack. Desperate, Kim calls out to her, urgently warning her of the imminent danger as a monstrous creature lunges forward with a terrifying snarl. His eyes widen sharply. The quiet night is shattered by a sudden, sharp sound that cuts through the tension. Han Sang blinks in confusion, momentarily distracted as she processes the unexpected noise. They are shocked to find the corrupted creatures have disappeared suddenly, leaving only silence and confusion. At the Hunter assembly point, our boy surveys the scene and remarks on the numerous injured, realizing the corruption creatures caused havoc while he was away. 2 men recognize and call out to Yuchanseok, surprised to see him there. They express disbelief that Yuchanseok could have single-handedly defeated a Grade 3 corrosion rift, questioning how it was even possible. Then, Kim calls out to him, relieved to have found him. He admits he was shocked by Yuchanseok's message about defeating the corrosion rift alone and wonders how he could have done it. Our hero explains that it wasn't his body that moved to protect the hunters, but his heart, hinting at a deeper motivation behind his actions. He reflects that since things went well, he should maintain a good image, acknowledging that managing one's reputation is also a skill. A man introduces himself as Bayan Jongtae, the 3rd branch manager of the Korea Operating Corporation for the northern Gyeonggi Incheon province. The MC acknowledges that Bayan Jongtae is the one who asked him to come and asks if he has a moment to talk. He receives a message that the mayor wishes to meet with him. Later, as he steps outside into the rain, he questions if ordering people around is merely a typical trait of old age. He realizes the contract never specified the bonus amount for clearing a Grade 3 corrosion rift and decides to negotiate the price while he's here. Upon meeting, a man formally greets Mr. Yuchanseok, preparing to discuss the terms. Lee Pilji introduces himself as the Communications and Liaison Officer. He explains that the mayor has been eagerly anticipating this meeting and was shocked by the early morning report from Jiadongdo Island. The mayor was so shocked by the early morning report from Jiadongdo Island that he cancelled his entire morning schedule to meet immediately. Despite the MC's modesty, Lee Pilji insists that a rookie hunter single-handedly destroying a Grade 3 corrosion rift is an extraordinary feat not seen since the era of the first hunter, the great pioneer. Our boy contemplates the idea of a precedent, wondering if that individual is the real monster. Hunter Yu Chanseok is announced at the mayor's office, and the mayor thanks him for coming. The mayor of Incheon, Park Jian, introduces himself and apologizes for summoning his guest in such terrible weather. He invites them to sit and requests Officer Lee Pilji to bring coffee, setting a formal tone for their conversation. The mayor acknowledges the great service Hunter Yu Chanseok has done for the country. He admits Jiadongdo Island was a difficult problem for Incheon, and limited budget made hiring a costly guild impossible. So he is glad it was handled efficiently. Our hero confirms that this was indeed his first commission, acknowledging his fresh start. The mayor expresses his pride that such an incredible person's first steps took place in Incheon, emphasizing his pride as the city's mayor. He proclaims Korea as the safest country globally and emphasizes Incheon's role as one of its key regions. He credits Incheon's economic success to the airport's infrastructure and the free economic zone, which draws many foreign investors to cities like Songdo and Cheongnya. The influx of massive funds through Incheon's international cities and the goods transported via the airport are highlighted as key drivers of the region's economic success. He vows to ensure that Mr. Yu Chanseok's path as a hunter proceeds smoothly, promising to provide all necessary assistance. The MC only looks at him in silence. Later, while driving him back, the man driving addresses Mr. Yu Chanseok directly, asking him to reveal his true purpose for becoming a hunter. Our boy explains that when a clogged toilet spews filth, someone must dive into the dirty water to unclog it. The driver quietly acknowledges this harsh reality with a simple, resigned, "I see." He explains that skilled hunters gain fame quickly, attracting commercial offers and even TV scouting opportunities. He acknowledges the concern that fame might change him, admitting many promising hunters lose sight of their duty when intoxicated by popularity. It is only natural that just beyond the truce line lies the dangerous corrosion zone, teeming with menacing monsters. Korea remains the only safe place, known as the last sanctuary left on Earth, though even it is increasingly influenced by the power of capital. The driver acknowledges Yu Chanseok's remarkable achievements, noting that many struggling people will now watch him with interest. He expresses a sincere hope that our hero will continue to serve as a symbol of hope for others. After hearing that, I was curious how far they'd go. He's not even trying to hide it, but just laying it all out on the table. Unfortunately for him, I'm not the type to be swayed by something like this. Our MC reflects on a long life filled with countless hardships, revealing a deep sense of endurance and struggle. He then questions the conditions tied to the support he's receiving, implying that he expects some form of obligation or task in return. He bluntly states that his task is to help a mayor with falling approval ratings get re-elected. The mayor acknowledges his knowledge with a knowing smile, our boy remarking that information is easily accessible on phones nowadays. He reveals the mayor's term ends early next year and acknowledges the widespread belief that re-election will be challenging. The mayor admits the directness of the comment and asks if approval from Incheon City Hall was necessary for participating in the commission. The MC admits he required the Incheon mayor's permission to join, suspecting the mayor wants to take credit for discovering him and ride on his success. The mayor states that due to the infrastructure he developed, he has strong ties with numerous overseas and domestic companies. He reveals that the contract for the current model of an instant coffee mix brand is ending soon, proposing to replace the model's face with Hunter Yu Chanseok's. He adds that there are many more opportunities like this in the future. While our boy places his cup of coffee on the table and addresses him, he sharply warns that he is not someone to be underestimated. He suggests that the world needs a fresh face to uplift the current gloomy atmosphere. He asserts that if a talent like himself continues working as a hunter, he will inevitably claim everything promised by Mayor Park. The mayor offers to provide safe and high-paying commissions, promising to select and assign them, but our boy dismisses the offer as uninteresting. He then sarcastically tells him to congratulate the coffee mix model instead, implying that only that person will benefit by extending their contract. A box of coffee mix sits on the table, highlighting the subject of the contract extension for the coffee mix model. Later, as rain falls steadily over an empty street, under the steady rain in a dimly lit alley, a hooded figure acknowledges the failure of the Jiadongdo Island test with a quiet acceptance. The figure solemnly apologizes for the failure, revealing the weight of responsibility they carry for the unsuccessful mission. The man admits the failure can't be helped but insists there is good news to consider. He shows a clip from the Hunter Association certification exam video, suggesting it holds important information. The video clip shows candidate Yu Chanseok wielding a powerful flame, astonishing everyone with his extraordinary ability. The hooded man watches the footage and remarks on Yu Chanseok's exceptional talent with a knowing grin. The first day of every month is eagerly awaited nationwide as the new hunter rankings are released. capturing everyone's attention. Excitement spreads quickly as the little boy eagerly calls their mother to look at the latest rankings on a phone. Many people show indifference toward the monthly hunter rankings, believing they rarely shift and serve only as public amusement. In a hospital room, Kim with a broken arm eagerly reacts to the rankings, sensing a significant change at last. The association president receives the latest September World Hunter rankings, marking a significant update. The Hunter Lee holding a bloodied sword wonders if a particular person has made it onto the rankings. Feeling this update is different. The MC reflects that despite the flashy presentation, the real significance lies elsewhere. He emphasizes that only the top 10 rankings truly matter, focusing attention on the elite hunters. Lee Seon swiftly finishes setting up her tent, confirming her position at 10th place. Kim Ki-hyun, holding her weapon tightly, readies herself with intense focus as the 5th place contender. Choi Yoriam claims 3rd place. Jang Tae-sik rises from the rubble, solidifying his position as the 2nd place contender with unwavering resolve. The 1st place winner is... Suddenly Somon called out to Mr. Yu Chanseok. A suited man tells him he can finally go out after waiting for a long time. The announcement confirms the arrival of 25 new entry hunters for 2025, highlighting the presence of Mr. Yu Chanseok among them. He is recognized for quickly entering the rankings, earning congratulations for his rapid rise in the contest. A 5-year veteran hunter solo clearing a grade 3 corrosion rift is so common it is usually ignored by the hunter community. However, when this happens during the first mission of a newly debuted hunter, it becomes a remarkable event, prompting the crowd to question Yu Chanseok about his and the circumstances inside the corrosion rift. He feels like a kid on a talent show and decides to take one last question due to his tight schedule. The crowd eagerly asks Yu Chanseok about his mindset and resolution as a hunter, but he dismisses typical answers like, "I'll do my best." He rejects empty promises and declares he will prove his resolve through tangible results. A helicopter flies over the ruins of the former Gonsal prison, highlighting the devastation left behind. The MC reflects on the widespread devastation caused by the corrosion rifts, noting that most countries lost their administrative capabilities in the aftermath. The old man beside him acknowledges that South Korea uniquely became a powerhouse, successfully defending itself and advancing technologically, exemplified by the advanced helicopter they are currently riding in. The MC questions if the countries that failed to handle the corrosion rifts ended up devastated like this, learning that many capitals vanished after the rifts appeared. He then suggests investigating the area more closely to understand the extent of the destruction. The area they are investigating is known as one of the Great 80s, the 8th most dangerous corrosion rifts worldwide, with Gonsal Prison located right here. Gonsal Prison suddenly appeared 13 years ago, spreading from the city center in a massive circle without any warning, leaving only a few survivors amid the transformed corrosion zone. The survivors were overwhelmed and eliminated instantly, unable to escape the sudden onslaught. Within just a few days, the entire city vanished completely without any warning or noise. Despite the appearance of corrosion rifts, the influence of each nation hasn't changed much, but internally, the power of central governments has weakened. Our boy acknowledges learning new information but wonders why it was important enough to call him here. A few days ago, Yoon Seongyeon from Taebeek came to find the old man, clearly annoyed that our boy didn't join Taebeek. I recalled Yoon Seongyeon as the big guy from before. He asked the old man about our hero's whereabouts, which caught him off guard. Although he didn't reveal our MC's location, he warned that the Taebeek Guild's ideology of survival of the fittest means they might try to subdue him by force. Our boy acknowledges the difficulty of overcoming an opponent who relies purely on brute strength. The old man observes that his behavior suggests he prefers to act independently rather than join a guild, and he confirms this quietly. The older man explains that raising one's own standing, like taking on major missions from the association president, is the best way to block Taebeek's approach. The protagonist suspects a motive behind the offer, asking if something is expected in exchange rather than receiving it for free. The older man insists that the only thing the MC should remember is the clear fact that he gave him help. He then hands over an envelope, emphasizing that this is all the MC needs to keep in mind, while our boy internally acknowledges that accepting a mission from the president is a worthwhile opportunity to build his reputation. He questions his mission, learning he must escort a cargo ship from Busan to Nanning City due to the difficulties caused by corrosion zones. He reviews the cargo list, noting the unusual inclusion of luxury items like Rolexes, high-end porcelain, ginseng liquor, pu'er tea, and a Hyundai luxury sedan, and wonders if the definition of daily necessities has changed over the past 20 years. The older man reflects that for some people, luxury items are considered necessities, hinting at a deeper understanding shaped by the past 20 years. The MC struggles to comprehend why such luxury goods are essential in a country where the central government has collapsed, revealing his confusion about the current state of society. Despite the collapse of many countries due to corrosion rifts, international politics still hold significance and influence. Realizing that maintaining certain relationships requires effort to grease the wheels, the MC decides to decline involvement in such dealings. The MC firmly refuses to get involved despite the urgency expressed by the older man, who stresses that the Korean government views the matter as highly important. He insists that he will not change his mind, believing it unwise for an individual to be drawn into the complexities of political affairs. The older man warns Hunter Yu Chanseok that being a rookie hunter with too much attention is becoming detrimental to him. Yu Chanseok throws the papers out of the helicopter, calmly thanking them for the ride and ignoring their protests. He declares his determination to swim to Seoul on his own, surprising the old man. He then jumps off the helicopter. The older man reacts with shock and quickly grabs the doorframe, struggling to process the MC's bold declaration. Meanwhile, a powerful splash erupts in the water below as our boy jumps in. The older man expresses his disbelief, muttering that kids these days are reckless and unpredictable. The story moves to Incheon Port. At Incheon Port, a worker pauses with a cup in hand, sensing something unusual in the air. Suddenly, our boy emerges from the water, gasping for breath as he struggles to recover from a near drowning. He expresses his fear of dying and demands to know who threatened him so severely. The worker acknowledges the MC's ordeal with sympathy, though unaware of the details, and he thanks him quietly. He resolves that his immediate priority is to build his strength. He decides to focus first on tackling the most difficult and unpleasant challenges to rise in status and influence. He firmly decides not to be swayed by anyone else, strengthening his resolve. He examines a new opportunity closely and concludes that it looks good. He accepts a new mission requesting hunters help to assist kidnapping victims on Tsushima Island, noting the estimated corruption rift is grade 2. He takes a moment to breathe and reflect quietly as the sun sets, preparing himself mentally for the challenge ahead. The protagonist, drenched in water and exhaustion, quietly declares that he will be busy for a while. Fishermen from Jeoju Island and Tongyeong begin their journey at sea to catch jumbo shrimp as the season starts. Despite the routine departure, the sea presents unusual and unexpected conditions this time. Corrosion creatures that nested on Tsushima Island appeared and kidnapped the fishermen, as if hunting them. According to the words of a survivor who barely escaped, the captured fishermen are still alive. The mission is to go to Tsushima Island, rescue the captured hostages, and eliminate the corrosion rift. The MC confirms the mission details after reviewing the information on his phone. He reads that the reward for eliminating the corrosion rift and rescuing the kidnapped fishermen is 55 million won. He contemplates that if he handles the mission alone, the entire reward will be his, which he considers a substantial amount. He weighs the benefits of succeeding alone, knowing it would bring him a heroic story and great fame along with the full reward. He acknowledges the challenge is worth it but remembers that corrosion creatures vary by grade and inhabit different dimensions, complicating the mission. A grade 3 corrosion rift possesses destructive power equivalent to a tank, underscoring its extreme danger. A grade 2 corrosion creature is considered a natural disaster level threat, showing the severity of lower grade corrosion beings. For a grade 1 corrosion creature, the threat is so severe that an entire country must mobilize to confront just one of them. Our boy reflects on how he managed grade 3 threats with Paradox Flame but doubts his ability to handle a grade 2 corrosion creature, realizing he might need help from someone capable, though such people would likely ignore a civilian's plea. He questions if there is truly no one who can assist him, then acknowledges that there might be someone if it is her. He envisions a strong, prepared woman standing with a spear, believing she could be the help he needs. A voice calls out to Yu Chanseok, breaking the tense silence around him. Han Sang steps forward and asks how long it will take to reach Tsushima Island, signaling a shift toward their next objective. The MC estimates it will take about an hour to reach Tsushima Island. He warns to replenish stamina before arrival, emphasizing that the upcoming battle will be tougher than before and checks if they are paying attention. Han Sang points out the strange object resting on Chanseok's shoulder, drawing his attention to it. He turns sharply, startled and puzzled by Han Sang's sudden observation. She recognizes the shoulder gear as Iron Seraph's limited edition piece and asks Chanseok how he got it, surprising him by her sudden talkativeness. Our MC reveals that a junk dealer he contracted with gave the gear as a gift, unlike the other contractor who gave him nothing. He dismisses the other's challenge, asserting his higher status as a rising prospect who soloed a grade 3 corrosion rift, while belittling the other as merely an academy valedictorian with no real achievements. He then advises the other to grow stronger and gain fame if he feels wronged, leaving the challenge open-ended. A few days ago, the atmosphere shifts as a new conversation begins. The young woman, catching her breath, asks if a teammate is needed. Our hero on the phone questions if it's really possible, while she reflects that they barely survived the grade 3 corrosion rift and now a grade 2. She falls silent for a moment. A sudden question about wanting to become stronger grabs her focus, stirring a reaction. Our boy reminds her that she wanted to learn from him. She is assured that if she still holds the same doubts, they can be dispelled with proper teaching. The promise is made that with guidance, she can become several times stronger than she currently is. Han Sang faces a critical moment, sweat and determination marking her expression as she confronts the question of what she will do next. She firmly acknowledges that she has a compelling reason to become stronger. Han Sang reflects on her determination to become stronger. She commits to pushing herself beyond all limits, willing to face even the most hellish challenges to achieve her goal. An urgent alarm blares, signaling an immediate threat that demands attention. The source of the alarm is confirmed as an unidentified object approaching, shrouded in mist and mystery. Han Sang identifies the approaching threat as a ship, while our boy revealing there are 5 ships in total. He then considers the challenge of reaching the ships without alerting civilians, emphasizing the need for a secretive approach. He asks Han Sang if she has a good way to handle the situation. He expresses disbelief that she might not have such a talent, challenging her capability to find a solution. A heavy silence falls as the sky darkens, signaling a tense moment of contemplation. Han Sang breaks the quiet with a knowing smile, admitting there is something even he cannot do. Han Sang mocks the claim that something cannot be done, laughing confidently and declaring the task really easy. She then swiftly moves into action, her feet splashing as she charges forward with determination. Han Sang's rapid advance stirs up water everywhere, causing concern from the MC. He acknowledges his limitation running on water but suddenly notices something that catches his attention. Han Sang is ordered to take control of the nearest ship, prompting her to question the reason behind this command. Our hero explains that he senses mana coming from the ship, and the energy it emits grows stronger the farther back it moves, making it a dangerous threat. Han Sang acknowledges the order to take control of the nearest ship with determination. She suddenly senses a presence and questions if it could be a human nearby. She spots a vague silhouette on a balcony, heightening her awareness of someone nearby. The MC tells her to open her eyes properly and look again. He told her that the movements are unnatural, confirming that the figures are not human. She lands firmly on the ground, preparing herself to confront the threat she has just identified. Our MC warns that landing improperly could severely injure the knees, signaling concern for the physical toll of the upcoming confrontation. He adds that such a landing would also draw unwanted attention, implying the need for caution in their approach. Our boy confronts a terrifying crowd of undead creatures closing in on him. He lands powerfully, his eyes sharp and focused, ready to engage the approaching threat. He swiftly strikes down the approaching undead with a powerful, precise attack that sends them flying. He assesses their strength, realizing they are only low-tier grade 2 enemies and not a serious threat. The thought crosses that mind that Han Sang could be something extraordinary. An intense burst of energy signals that Han Sang might be revealing her true strength. He urgently calls out to her, catching her attention amid the intense moment. He warns Han Sang that she is expending too much mana and risks running out of energy soon. She realizes she doesn't need to use as much mana for this level and forces herself to reduce her output. She remembered his offer to teach her to become several times stronger than she is. Han Sang releases a massive burst of energy, striking down multiple enemies with overwhelming force. Our boy reveals the attack was still too powerful. He urgently commands Han Sang to reduce her mana output immediately. Han Sang's intense gaze reflects a grim realization as a dark narration reveals that the life of the weak is a tragedy, infinitely cold and endlessly dark. She recalls a painful promise she made to herself. She will never live as a weakling again and must become stronger. A monstrous attacker rushes toward her, the MC urgently shouting her name to warn her of the imminent threat. A powerful energy surge strikes down with overwhelming force. Han Sang reflects on her deep resolve, affirming that she must become stronger for a crucial reason that drives her forward. She steels herself with unwavering determination, willing to face any danger no matter how dire. Han Sang catches her breath, standing among fallen foes, her resolve unshaken despite the exhaustion. Our boy steps forward, questioning if the conflict has ended. He reveals he has already dealt with all the other boats, clearing the way ahead. Han Sang admits that this was not a situation where she could afford to be stubborn, acknowledging the necessity of her actions. He expresses genuine gratitude for the advice she received, admitting it taught her a lot. She reveals that this is the first time anyone has ever given her advice, surprising the MC who assumes the academy would have been a place for learning and support. Han Sang explains that her quick learning annoyed others, so she rarely received advice, but she questions if persistent guidance could help her surpass her mentor. She confesses that she has already outgrown every teacher she's had, revealing both her strength and the toll it has taken on her. The young man reacts with shock and disbelief to what he just heard, his expression frozen in stunned surprise. Our boy confidently declares that he will never be surpassed by her and vows to make sure she admires him for the rest of his life, though she admits that hearing his response angers her deeply. 2 officers salute solemnly as they prepare to remain on standby at George Island. Our boy acknowledged the officers' commitment, encouraging them to keep up the good work while the officers confirm their standby orders with a respectful salute. He revealed that the hostages are being held at a shrine. Han Sang identifies that there are 2 shrines on the island, Gaijin Shrine and Atazumi Shrine. The MC decides that Gaijin Shrine should be their first destination since it is the closest, reachable within a few hours on foot. He then realizes the real challenge will be the return trip, as they will be traveling light going in but will face difficulties coming back. According to the report, there are 15 hostages, making the return trip even more difficult if any of them are wounded. Our boy senses a sinister mana beyond the fog that feels like it's tearing her skin, warning that the corrosion creatures across the island will relentlessly pursue them. They conclude that securing a vehicle is essential to evade the creatures and safely transport the hostages back. He checks if Han Sang can drive well, and she affirms her ability. She then accelerates the vehicle sharply, determined to break through the dangerous situation ahead. The MC shouts in frustration. He shouts angrily about the lack of braking while the vehicle speeds dangerously, and she retorts that if he dislikes it, he should drive instead. Our boy clenches his hand tightly and decisively refuses to take the wheel, saying, "Forget it." He dismisses the idea of driving himself, claiming reckless driving is better than letting his unused license gather dust for 20 years. He asserts his confidence by saying he is much better at fighting anyway, preparing to take action. He swiftly throws his weapon, launching it with deadly precision toward his target. He then clenches his fist tightly, preparing to draw his weapon again for the next move. Our boy tests his weapon's durability, confirming it is sturdy enough for the fight. Suddenly, he alerts Han Sang to an incoming attack from the left, as multiple enemies leap out from the trees. She asserts her determination to take on the incoming enemies alone. RMC expresses worry, cautioning her that acting this way could lead to trouble. Han Sang launches a fierce attack, sending her enemies flying violently through the air. She laughs confidently, urging herself to keep moving swiftly and roll on the pavement to maintain her momentum. The young man hesitates, then quietly admits he might have been better off driving. The view opens to a peaceful forest path, signaling a moment of calm and transition. A horde of monsters rushes up the forest path, pursuing a vehicle that races toward a shrine in the distance. Han Sang notices the shrine and urgently orders everyone to take shelter inside, even as the monsters draw nearer. Our hero asserts her that he'll handle the monsters, preparing to take action. She speeds the vehicle forward, announcing her intention to go ahead and face the danger. The young man summons dark, swirling energy around his arm, preparing to retaliate. He declares that since they won't stop chasing him, he will fight back with full force. The young man channels a surge of dark energy around his arm, his eyes sharp with determination as he prepares to strike back fiercely. He unleashes a powerful attack named Paradox Flame, sending a massive wave of dark flames crashing downward with overwhelming force. He focuses intently, realizing that to advance, he must eliminate the friction of the stairs beneath him. He channels his dark energy to burn away the stairs' friction, allowing him to move forward unimpeded. Han Sang finds two men unconscious. She quickly asks if he is okay, prompting a startled response from the man. She declares her identity as a hunter from the Hunter Association, asserting control over the encounter. The bound man breaks into a panicked scream, overwhelmed by his fear and suffering. She urgently insists she is not there to capture him but to save him, trying to calm the terrified man. Despite her plea, the man breaks down in tears, screaming for everyone to run away, while she watches him with a mix of shock and concern. Behind her powerful spectral samurai spirit that radiates intense energy, our boy swiftly launches a precise sword strike, clashing fiercely with the samurai in a sudden, explosive confrontation. He commands to get the survivors into the car, insisting that he will handle the current danger alone. The battle continues between our hero and the samurai with intense force. The samurai readies himself to launch an attack. Our boy barely shields himself with his weapon. His intense focus sharpens as the clash intensifies. The towering spectral samurai raises its weapon high, preparing to strike down with overwhelming force. Han Sang driving the car straight towards the samurai, shattering his defense and forcing it backward. She screams fiercely with the intent to kill. Her strike lands with devastating force, shattering the ground beneath and overwhelming her opponent. The attack leaves the vehicle overturned and smoking, signaling the intense impact of the strike. Our boy warns her not to touch the steering wheel upon return, while she urges him to get inside quickly. While above the car, our boy asks about the hostages. Sang confirms that all the hostages are accounted for and safely inside. She suddenly senses something, her expression tightening as she reacts to an unexpected disturbance. She urgently warns Yu Chansuk to watch the front. Suddenly, a horde of monstrous creatures with glowing red eyes bursts from the ground, screaming as they attack. The young man notes with grim realization that the creature remains alive despite having been hit by a car. He urgently asks Han Sang to lend him her sword, catching her off guard. She reacts sharply, insisting that asking a swordsman for their sword is a grave insult. He then emphasizes that between a swordsman's honor and people's lives, saving lives must take precedence. Han Sang decisively throws her katana towards RMC. He catches the sword with one hand and his weapon in the other, ready to face what's coming. He reveals a hidden tool, acknowledging he must use it earlier than expected. A few days earlier, inside the Jiadongdo Grade 3 corrosion rift, our boy standing among fallen creatures, holding a glowing purple cube. He stares in disbelief, realizing the object before him is a glove. The glove lies illuminated, its design hinting at a powerful and unusual tool. He examines the glove closely, confirming it is no ordinary item. He realizes the glove is actively gathering mana from the atmosphere, revealing its magical nature. He initially assumes the glove is just basic equipment designed to supplement one's own mana. However, he realizes the glove's mana storage capacity only lasts about 5 minutes, making it far more significant than a simple accessory. He resolves with determination that they can become strong enough to rival Lee Seun. He brace themselves, readying their weapons as he prepare to face the challenge head-on. He activates a device on his wrist. He launches himself into the air, dodging a barrage of laser beams while preparing to strike his opponents from above. Han Sang reacts in disbelief. She realizes that the MC managed to suppress a large number of opponents at once, surprising her with his overwhelming power. Our hero resolves to leave immediately, instructing to head to the port without looking back. The story moves to Hadakatsu Port. Han Sang realizes that simply getting past the initial group of enemies won't be enough. She questions where the relentless waves of attackers keep coming from as they continue to assault her. The car is pushed to its limit, and despite the urgency to stop and handle the situation, our hero urges her to keep driving. However, the relentless pace is unsustainable, and the consequences of pushing forward at this rate become apparent. A sudden, one of the monsters stretching his hands forward, almost reaching the vehicle. Suddenly, the monster stopped by something, while Han Sang reacts sharply to the chaos. The pursuers who had been relentlessly chasing them moments ago now seem to be mysteriously hindered, as if something is obstructing their path. Han Sang contemplates the strange development, wondering if this unexpected obstacle could be the key to their sudden advantage. She wonders if the strange barrier is the cause behind their pursuers' unexpected hindrance. She confirms the barrier is a protective formation geometry, explaining the source of the obstruction. Han Sang questions the meaning of protective formation geometry, prompting our boy to explain that it is a drawing method used to repel monsters. When asked where he learned it, the MC reveals that even if he told her, she couldn't learn it because he acquired the knowledge in another world. The young man confidently claims his skills are improving steadily. Han Sang questions whether the geometry method can repel any monster, but he admits it cannot, despite wishing it could. The young man admits that the geometry method doesn't work on the real monsters, despite his wish that it could. The armored figure, driven by a desperate resolve, repeats the mantra that it must protect at all costs. Han Sang senses a shift in the atmosphere. Our boy quietly questions the concept of mind's eye, trying to understand its significance in the current situation. Han Sang questions if mind's eye is the ability to perceive beyond the 5 senses and predict an opponent's attack. She doubts how such a difficult technique, even for skilled masters, could be wielded by someone she considers a mere corpse. Our hero places his hand on her trembling hands. With calm voice, he reassures her, telling her there is no need to be afraid. He dismisses techniques like mind's eye as mere tricks and urges to watch closely. With intense focus, he promises to teach how to handle such deceptive tactics. Tae Samurai reacts swiftly, gripping his katana tightly as he prepares to attack. He launches a powerful, decisive strike aimed at our hero and Sang Dash. Han Sang questions why he is going alone, prompting him to start explaining the mind's eye. He explains that the mind's eye is data from countless battles, creating an acquired reflex that drives his combat instincts. The mind's eye reacts unconsciously to emotions like hostility or fear, and merely projecting killing intent can degrade it into a sorry state. However, few possess the ability to maintain the mind's eye, heart sword, and state of selflessness simultaneously. The so-called realms represent the union of man and sword, where myriad streams return to their origin. Our hero, in a swift motion, he swings his weapon, the samurai standing still while the protagonist made his move. With a powerful strike, our boy's attack overpowered the samurai, splitting him in half. The young man turns to Sang Dash, claiming they are nothing special. He reflects on the dangerous illusion of enlightenment, warning that getting complacent with a special title sets unnecessary limits, and that true value on the battlefield requires no such labels. The samurai is being shuddered in front of them. He firmly declares his conviction, asserting his right to act on this understanding without hesitation. He reflects on the heavy price he paid to escape the trap, acknowledging the countless sacrifices involved. Our boy notes that although he survived being hit by her car, his ultimate move is disappointingly just a mental illusion. She questions what she truly accomplished alone in this subjugation, doubting the value of her efforts. Despite convincing herself it was her best, she realizes Yu Chansuk's strength far surpassed what she had imagined. She realizes that half-hearted effort won't suffice anymore and grips her weapon with renewed determination. Resolving to pursue her goal with full commitment, she steels herself for the challenges ahead. Han Sang directly addresses Yu Chansuk, signaling a serious request. She firmly asks him to teach her properly, showing her commitment to genuine learning. The young man acknowledges that while he has been teaching her, mere advice isn't sufficient, signaling the need for deeper, more practical instruction. Han Sang insists she needs direct guidance rather than just advice, admitting she feels weak compared to him and wants to improve quickly. She reveals her true motivation is to personally defeat Club Shaddai, driving her urgency to get stronger. The story introduces the 8 most dangerous corrosion rifts worldwide, called the Great 8, emphasizing Club Shaddai's fearsome reputation for devastating power. TMC contemplates that her goal of revenge against Club Shaddai may be larger than necessary. Han Sang firmly declares that her mission is to seek revenge for her family. She makes it clear that her request for help comes with compensation, indicating she is not asking for anything without payment. She reveals that KY Group, with a market capitalization of 257 trillion, is the corporation his family owns. Our boy asks if she's the daughter of a prominent family, but she explains that her grandfather is the owner and that she has given up on the succession competition. He warns that achieving something as a hunter could drag someone into the family succession battle, then directly asks what the other person wants after receiving their card. Han Sang demands to be made the best hunter and offers rare elixirs in return, specifying these elixirs are not available through normal distribution channels. She promises that with the rare elixirs she provides, the other person will become stronger and reach the realm they desire. The MC doubts that she would believe such a claim even if it were told to her. The realm he wants to reach, he has already attained long ago. His need to grow stronger exists only to restore the world to its former state. Han Sang orders to obtain a specific item and confirms it will be enough, emphasizing the need to relocate the car to the medical center immediately. Later, they made it to a hospital. She inquires about the recovery duration, and the doctor notes there are 7 patients whose nutritional conditions affect the timeline. The doctor concludes that at least a week is needed before the patients can engage in any conversation. He them to wait until the patients regain consciousness and to allow them to rest in the meantime. Han Sang is surprised when the MC calls her out, saying they should begin right away. They stand facing each other ready for the lesson. Our boy addresses her directly, saying he has a question before they start. He challenges Han Sang by asking if she can dodge his spear when swung with full power. She responds, acknowledging the difficulty and admitting there is a significant skill gap between them. He insists that dodging the spear is definitely possible if she pushes her senses to the limit. He urges her to fully engage all her senses, sight, hearing, and smell, to anticipate and evade the attack. He urges her to extend her awareness beyond sight and hearing, to also feel with her skin, heightening her sensory perception. He emphasizes the need to dominate all senses and to engage fully in conscious awareness during the fight, rather than reacting unconsciously. He challenges her to prove how well she has learned by initiating the fight. Before he can finish speaking, he vanishes instantly, catching her off guard. Han Sang struggles to locate her opponent, confused by the absence of any sound indicating his position. Suddenly, he appears behind her, declaring her assumption wrong and catching her off guard. He criticizes the opponent's reaction as too slow, emphasizing that senses must come before thoughts in combat. He explains that in real combat, there is no time to think, so one must accept their senses as they are and move, warning that unmastered senses will only deceive. He concludes his explanation by declaring the theory complete and announces the transition to practical application. After some time, an explosion erupts nearby, catching the attention of a security guard, who turns to face the disturbance. Another guard rushes up, out of breath, calling out in concern as he wonders where his colleague had gone amid the chaos. The security guard suddenly demands why he wasn't called sooner, his expression tense and urgent. His eyes widen in shock as he spots something unexpected, struggling to comprehend what he's seeing. They witness powerful attack that shatters the ground and sends debris flying. Sang, lifting her sword ready to attack. Our MC closes to her, his eyes sharp. He unleashes a rapid flurry of precise sword strikes. Our boy delivers a powerful strike that shatters the ground beneath her. Sang tightening her grip, eyes widening. Our launches a fierce overhead strike aimed directly at her. She realizes with alarm that she cannot evade the incoming attack. Someone urgently calls out to Mr. Yu Chanseok, signaling a sudden halt. The security reports that one of the survivors has just regained consciousness and urges everyone to move together. Han Sang dash, catching her breath and still tense. Our boy realizes that the time has come. He informs Sang that since she has improved her blocking skills, the first training session will conclude and they will move indoors. He checks if she is alright, and she confirms that she is fine. Later, our boy sits beside a person lying in a hospital bed, telling him that if it wasn't hallucination. A truck arrived at the place where she was held captive, and people emerged from it. Our hero questions if those people were other hostages, seeking clarification about the situation. The guy explains that the people who emerged from the truck were too calm to be captives, and the monsters showed no hostility toward them. He adds that the monsters seem to be helping those people by selecting a few hostages and moving them onto the truck. Our boy realizes that the small number of hostages was suspicious and understands the reason behind it. He notes that one person managed to get away, which allowed them to rescue the others, but the guy clarifies that it wasn't truly an escape. He explains that the captors intentionally allowed them to escape. Our boy acknowledging that the escape was part of a larger plan. It seems impossible that a mere civilian could break through and escape a place that even two skilled hunters barely managed to enter, unless someone deliberately let them go. This raises the unsettling possibility that coming here was a trap from the start, making the entire situation a calculated setup. Our hero getting frustrated. He acknowledges the calculated nature of the trap, recognizing the audacity of those who set it. Sang reflects on reason Yu Chanseok is this angry is questioned, wondering if it stems from being underestimated or something deeper. The possibility that his fury comes from the use of human lives as bait in a trap is considered, while our MC asks the guy for more informations. He mentioned a cat, surprising both Sang and our hero. He reveals the cat was attached to the waist of the person who got out of the truck. He confirms that it was a cat mascot. Later, while walking, our boy reflects on the surprising fact that the airport mascot was a cat and questions how the other person figured it out, while Sang mocking if his smartphone is only for decoration. The MC points out that commoners get hit with a bill bomb if they press the internet button, making Sang questions if he came out of a cage somewhere. Noticing no one else is around, Han Sang suggests they should go back to the shrine. Suddenly, our boy locates the person they were searching for and announces he has found him. He identifies the man by his distinctive face covered with numerous piercings. He questions the bizarre appearance of the man, wondering if he stitched his face together with a sewing machine. Despite his unsettling look, he reveals that this man is far from ordinary, as he confidently greets them with a sinister smile. The man reveals his name as Kim Jae-hyun. He confidently states he will be the one to capture them alive, unsettling the MC and Han Sang-dash. He decides to show the opposite side first, revealing a battered and unconscious man to emphasize his point. He throws the man down with force, asserting control and signaling the harsh reality they face. Han Sang reacts with concern as she realizes people are being thrown into the corrosion rift. She understands that those thrown in won't be able to escape until the core is destroyed, highlighting the severity of the situation. Suddenly, her eyes widen sharply as she processes the horrifying transformation she witnesses. She realizes with shock that a person has been turned into a corrosion creature, confirming the terrifying consequences of the corrosion rift. The blue-haired man dismisses the threat, noting that the host's weakness makes the situation unimpressive. Suddenly, he launches a powerful kick, sending the person flying backwards. Han Sang and the MC exchange a stunned silence, unable to believe what they are witnessing. The blue-haired man tightens his grip on his belt, coldly admitting that they intend to sacrifice ordinary people just like them. The man admits their experiments didn't yield the desired corrosion creatures, exposing a hidden failure. Han Sang urgently tells the young man that their enemy's goal was never hostage ransom, implying a darker motive. He reveals that the enemy's true objective was to capture the hostages themselves, not just to use them as leverage. He admits his personal indifference toward the hostages but insists on explaining the Elder's directive for the sake of their greater mission. The blue-haired man identifies themselves as the descendants of Dan Gun, united by a single purpose that drives all their actions. Their mission is to maintain and strengthen the hegemony that South Korea currently holds, emphasizing their focused and unwavering commitment. Their goal is to ensure no one can challenge or interfere with their dominance. This determination fuels their ambition to transform their influence into an overwhelmingly powerful superpower. He delivers a fierce blow, shattering a car nearby. He then forcefully kicks it, sending it towards them. The MC looks up in shock as their car crashing down near him, prompting him to start complaining before being interrupted. The impact causes a loud explosion that shakes the surrounding area, emphasizing the destructive force unleashed moments ago. Han Sang questions if she heard correctly, doubting that their country needs more power since it is already a superpower. The blue-haired man insists that their nation's current strength is insufficient and vows to elevate it beyond anyone's contempt. He declares his goal to transform their nation's power into an absolute, unchangeable superpower. He urges to remember the history of the Korean peninsula, where they were repeatedly stripped of tributes and forced to bow their heads without resistance. The painful consequence of their past resistance was the loss of their sovereignty, a humiliation that still stings deeply. Determined to reclaim their dignity, the resolve is firm to repay every insult endured and restore their nation's honor. While our boy thinking that the opponent is a Taekwondo black belt and unarmed, but he's faster than he imagined. The blue-haired man launches a powerful attack, vowing to leave nothing behind in their assault. Our MC assesses her opponent's speed and power, recognizing the threat but also understanding his motives tied to Korea's precarious position. He confronts his opponent, accusing him of having no intention to save the world. He insists that countless lives are at risk and challenges their priorities, declaring that they are the ones who truly don't understand the situation. The blue-haired man reveals they have discovered a method to control the corrosion rifts. Our boy pauses, realizing that if his claim is true, it could alter the entire situation. He realizes that if controlling corrosion rifts is possible, they wouldn't need to suffer like this and could lead stable lives. Our boy expresses willingness to cooperate and demands to know the extent of control over the rifts, promising to hand over Han Sang if the control is impressive. The blue-haired man refuses to reveal the extent of their control over the corrosion rifts, questioning why he should share that information. In response, the MC expresses disbelief at the idea of just enough control, insisting that anything less than complete control is insufficient. He accuses them of being scammers who talk convincingly but never prove their abilities. Tay blue-haired man angrily interrupts, refusing to accept their false pretenses and asserting his defiance with a powerful strike. He unleashes a powerful strike that shatters the ground beneath him, prompting our boy to dodge. As the MC lands, he questions whether he went too far. He admits to trying to stall for time to replenish his mana, but accepts that it can't be helped. Realizing he lacks enough mana to use Paradox Flame, he decides that a battle of attrition is the best strategy with his current output. The blue-haired man's eyes widen sharply as he senses an unexpected shift in the battle's momentum. Sang swiftly unleashes a powerful, electrified strike, aiming to turn the tide with a sudden burst of energy. The opponent taunts her, assuming she stayed still out of fear, challenging her resolve. She responds with fierce determination, gripping her katana as electricity crackles around her, signaling her readiness to fight back. Our MC warns Han Sang that she can't handle the opponent and tells her to stay back, revealing they notice the remaining charge in her gauntlet. She calmly acknowledges that he needs more time to recover. Han Sang questions how much time he requires to recover before continuing the fight. He decides on 5 minutes and she starts drinking a glowing potion to restore her energy. Han Sang dash, now fully energized and radiating power, she launches her glowing katana into the air, signaling the start of her counterattack. Our MC warns about the danger of overloading from refining too much of the elixir, emphasizing that it should only be used in emergencies since they have only one chance. The young man acknowledges this and states he has 5 minutes before he can complete the process. Han Sang urges Yu Chanseok not to lose, showing her determination and support. A quiet, desolate road under a cloudy sky, emphasizing the tense calm before the upcoming challenge. Thunder cracks violently across the dark sky, signaling the storm's sudden arrival. Amidst the lightning, the blue-haired man warns Han Sang to be cautious, fearing she might accidentally kill him by mistake. The blue-haired man's eyes widen sharply as she senses an imminent threat amidst the storm. A powerful lightning strike crashes down directly towards him. Han Sang questions if her attack was successful, her expression tense and uncertain. The opponent, battered and falling, dismisses the attack as insignificant, surprising her. The opponent's strike propels her high into the air, slamming her down with overwhelming power. She spits blood, showing signs of injury. Suddenly, a hand holds her mid-air. The MC taunts the opponent with a sharp insult. His voice cuts through the tension, asking if he is ready to die. The MC holding Sang dash, ready to finish the battle. The opponent senses a sudden increase in the protagonist's mana, suspecting he concealed his true strength until now. The MC calmly asks why he is so surprised, connects his opponent's power to the same principle as his piercings, stunned by his knowledge. Our MC dismisses his surprise, asserting that anyone but an idiot would recognize it, while gripping his weapon firmly. The protagonist urges the opponent to observe the surroundings filled with refined mana and accuses him of leaking power by spamming abilities they cannot control. He acknowledges that this leakage helped him regain his Paradox Flame, mockingly suggesting he should thank his opponent. The man angrily denies the possibility of absorbing wasted mana, demanding an explanation. His opponent coldly dismisses the need to know and declares that he will die today. Our boy unleashes a rapid 16-hit combo called Blue Trajectory, overwhelming his opponent with swift, relentless strikes. The blue-haired man struggles to breathe, realizing the problem is deeper than just his lungs. He then senses that he cannot feel his heartbeat, indicating a critical and worsening condition. Our MC taunts his opponent for struggling to maintain pride while barely able to stand using mana. He asserts that he has burned away all of his muscle strength, emphasizing the extent of his debilitating attack. The weakened figure, barely holding on, pleads desperately for the captain's help. A sudden burst of intense light erupts, signaling an immediate and powerful response. Our boy senses a sudden shift in the battle, his focus sharpening instantly. Reacting swiftly, he channels a powerful energy attack that erupts with explosive force, turning the tide of the fight. He narrows his eyes, questioning the nature of the new threat he faces. A figure reveals his surprise that his opponent managed to pull out a spear when he expected at least to have crushed his wrist. The hooded figure acknowledges our boy's sharp instincts as he grips his weapon tightly, preparing for the next move. The MC questions the relevance of traditional Korean archery in the modern era, wondering if this opponent might be the captain. He senses the opponent's overwhelming energy and admits he is worthy of being called captain, recognizing he is at least twice as strong as Lee Se-eun. He concludes his skill is 3 or 4 times greater, as the opponent confronts him boldly, questioning if he fears death. The MC taunts the hooded figure, implying that if he truly wanted to kill him, he would have done so already, challenging his resolve. He then provocatively asks if he is interested in the weapon he wields, revealing a dark, glowing power that hints at a deeper threat. The flames engulfing the blue-haired man intensify, causing him to gasp and plead desperately for help. The hooded figure orders to extinguish the flames on Kim Ji-hyun immediately, emphasizing that the command will not be repeated. Our boy realizes that Kim Ji-hyun's mana was already depleted before he collapsed, and that the man in the hood is sustaining Kim Ji-hyun with his own mana. He reflects that if the arrow had been aimed at his head instead of his wrist, he would be dead by now, but the attacker deliberately avoided a fatal shot. Kim Ji-hyun collapses, his body lifeless as the mana sustaining him fades away. He utters a faint sound, barely conscious, signaling his fragile state. The hooded figure holds the fading blue-haired man, telling him he did a good job. Then he questions the MC about the severe impact on Kim Ji-hyun, while our boy notes that he closed the distance in an instant. Our boy told him that the blue-haired man has lost all muscle strength and will have to spend his youth in a wheelchair, using a catheter to circulate his blood with mana. The hooded figure insists on taking Yu Chanseok alive, but only as long as he is still breathing. The MC defiantly challenges his opponent, declaring he would rather die from a heart attack than become a puppet under their control. The hooded figure then admits he must withdraw until he fully understands the principles of the mysterious flame, but warns that when the corrosion rifts first appeared, no one believed they could be controlled. He declares that despite everything, they have succeeded in their plan. They ominously warn that someday, the young man will also fall under their control. The destruction around them confirms the inevitability of the plan's success. As the MC watches the aftermath unfold, he curses his situation, admitting he got involved with someone who has a dangerously volatile temper. Sang confirms that their enemies are targeting the young man's unique skill, though the reason remains unclear. She reasons that if that were the case, they could have simply taken him hostage while he was unconscious, suggesting the enemies might know more about his. She questions whether terrorists would truly care about such details, urging a careful consideration of their actions and objectives. Her focus sharpens as she wonders if the Korean government would oppose whatever plan is unfolding. Our boy suspects that the terrorists might be receiving direct support, complicating the situation further. This leads to the realization that eliminating the corrosion rift might not be the right move, as it could be under control and part of a larger plan, but she is urged to ignore this knowledge and act as if unaware. Han Sang admits her inability to lie, while the MC acknowledged that. Our boy decides to postpone dealing with the consequences and focuses on addressing the immediate threat at hand. He insists on handling the situation alone, telling her to wait while he proceeds by himself. She hesitantly asks if he's really okay with her not following, showing her doubt about facing the challenge alone. She admits he doesn't know what they've done inside, but he insists he'll find out once he goes in. He urges her to rest and recover until he returns, then jumps forward to confront the situation alone. He steels himself and moves forward with resolve, ready to face the challenges inside. The focus shifts to the foreboding Tsushima Grade 2 corrosion rift, marking the location of the impending confrontation. Our boy stands before a large, ominous door marked with glowing symbols, preparing to enter the next stage of his challenge. He reaches out and pushes the door open. He identifies the place as a Grade 2 corrosion rift, recognizing its dangerous nature. Despite the presence of squishy undead, he notes that the castle itself is terrifyingly solid and well-fortified. The oppressive energy pierces deeply with every breath, signaling a deadly presence just beyond the door. Behind the door lies the very core of the corrosion rift, glowing ominously with toxic green energy. The young man steels himself with grim resolve, acknowledging the deadly stakes of the upcoming battle and the fatal risk of lowering his guard. As he stands silhouetted against the eerie glow of the corrosion rift, the oppressive energy intensifies, underscoring the lethal danger he faces. Notices a mysterious cauldron emitting an eerie green flame. He approaches the cauldron cautiously, trying to understand its purpose and the danger it might pose. He contemplates whether the eerie green flame is the core of the Grade 2 corrosion rift, feeling a mix of curiosity and apprehension. He realizes the object before them is unlike anything they had anticipated, deepening their uncertainty about its true nature. His attention sharpens as he senses something urgent nearby. A desperate figure crawls toward him, pleading for help with a trembling voice. The wounded man painfully admits his legs are gone and begs for help, overwhelmed by agony. A sinister tentacle suddenly attacks the man, cutting off his desperate plea and leaving him helpless. A sudden movement catches attention as a glowing green liquid splashes, signaling an unexpected development. A hand emerges gripping the edge firmly. A grotesque undead creature emerges from the glowing green cauldron, growling as it takes form. The young man realizes the horrifying truth that the cauldron is creating undead by using living people. He questions the cruel fate unfolding before him, his voice trembling as he asks why this is happening. Flames engulf the scene as desperate cries for help echo, revealing the intense suffering caused by the fiery destruction. The young man winces in pain as he covers his mouth, struggling with a sudden physical reaction. His expression hardens with contempt as he mutters a bitter condemnation of humans, revealing deep resentment. A strange voice suddenly broke the silence. Another sacrifice has occurred, marking a grim continuation of a dark pattern. Yet this latest sacrifice stands out as unusual, differing significantly from those that came before it. A fierce yet familiar energy emerges, triggering a deep recognition. The energy is revealed to be that of a warrior, revealing a glowing green figure with a sword. A commanding voice urges the MC to draw his weapon. The figure, surrounded by an ominous green aura, vows to temper their blade with the blood of their enemies, preparing for a fierce battle. The young man senses an overwhelming pressure and wonders if he has reached the core of the Grade 2 corrosion rift, feeling chills run down his spine. He realizes that the hooded man has somehow subdued and is controlling the monstrous entity, leaving him stunned and questioning how this is possible. The young man realizes that even the hooded man isn't on this level, implying there is someone even stronger than him. A surge of power ignites beneath the figure as he acknowledges his previous carelessness before this new, overwhelming force. Our boy steels herself, ready to face the mysterious power advancing toward her. The young man channels his surging energy into a devastating strike, fully aware that such power could lead to fatal outcomes. Understands that defeating a strong opponent requires ending the fight quickly before they discover his vulnerabilities. He focuses on his speed and the necessity of a single, decisive strike to secure his survival. He channels his speed and focus into a powerful, swift strike. The figure's eyes glowed intensely. He tightens his grip on the sword as the swirling energy around his blade intensifies, signaling the peak of his power surge. The MC channels the accumulated energy into a decisive strike, unleashing a powerful slash that cuts through the air with overwhelming force. But his eyes widen in shock as he realizes his opponent has managed to block his strike. He processes that not only was his attack blocked, but the block itself is more surprising than he expected. The opponent's block was so swift and seamless that the young man couldn't detect the motion at all. The figure notes that by nature, the swift attack was designed to be unseen. The opponent's counterstrike lands, slicing the young man's arm and drawing blood despite the initial invisibility of the block. The young man grimaces in pain, realizing his opponent can move even faster than he anticipated. The opponent taunts him, acknowledging the young man's skill in making vital points miss, and challenges him to try blocking the next attack as well. The MC braces himself, crossing his arms to block a powerful, glowing strike aimed directly at him. Despite his defense, the young man grimaces in pain as blood trickles down his neck, showing the attack's impact has landed. Our boy falls to the ground as a mysterious, glowing figure looms before her, radiating an ominous energy. Despite his exhaustion and injuries, he summons his remaining strength to raise his weapon, preparing for the next decisive move against the threatening presence. He reluctantly decides to use the Paradox Flame, but realizes it won't work as an attack since his opponent isn't a living being. Frustrated and desperate, he struggles to find a new strategy against the mysterious entity, acknowledging the situation is full of unexpected challenges. The mysterious entity expresses a deep curiosity about what it will take to defeat its opponent. It tightens its grip on a weapon, preparing to confront the challenge ahead with renewed focus. The mysterious figure strikes with overwhelming force, piercing through the armor and leaving the young man stunned and wounded. Our boy feels every muscle in his body tear as the attack lands, his face a mix of shock and pain. The MC swiftly shifts his stance, preparing to respond to the sudden attack that left him wounded. The figure firmly grips his katana, readying himself. The MC suddenly appeared behind the figure, raising his weapon for a decisive strike. He reflects on how close he came to losing consciousness, surprised that his attacker missed a critical strike to his shoulder muscles. The young man decides to use Paradox Flame to accelerate his recovery and heal his torn muscles quickly. Seizing the moment after taking his opponent's back unnoticed, he wonders if he finally has a chance to turn the fight in his favor. The MC's intense gaze sharpens, as the figure reminds him of what he said. He coldly declares that he's simply too slow to match his speed and skill. The mysterious figure cloaked in glowing energy appears behind the young man, pressing a sword against his back. The young man gasps sharply, his eyes wide with shock and fear as he realizes the severity of his predicament. Our boy reveals a confident, almost sinister smile. He jumped back, creating distance. The figure admits that it was fortunate the attack missed its mark. The protagonist insists the figure has been restraining the finishing blow all along to prolong the fight. He demands to know if the figure is mocking him by holding back out of pity. The figure confesses that they could have ended her life if they were still the person they used to be. He reveals that they have lost most of their memories and cannot recall a single name from their past life. He explains that the memory loss caused fatal gaps in their technique, leading to their defeat by an unidentified man and resulting in them being shackled disgracefully. Our boy reflects that while their body remains intact, their experience and memories have mostly vanished, which contrasts sharply with his own condition. He realizes that the shackles binding them must be the control mentioned earlier. The figure admits to having lost too much. He declares that his name and the reason he wields the sword define his existence. He admits that all that remains inside is resentment soaked in sorrow, driving his will to fight. The young man struggles to maintain composure, overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events and desperate for a solution. The figure questions if the strange appearance before him holds a deeper significance or hidden power that could change everything. The figure's resentment has grown denser, yet he has lost a significant amount of his technique and experience. Despite this, the samurai does not seem truly pitiful as a dark, ominous energy surrounds him, signaling a dangerous transformation. Our boy believes that if his opponent cannot kill him with a single strike, he still has a chance to win. He resolves that to defeat this enemy, the young man resolves to unleash his full power, preparing to pour out everything he has in the fight. The young man faces the mysterious figure. The figure with glowing eyes acknowledges the young man's unique power. Black flames envelop the young man, instantly healing all his wounds and restoring his energy, revealing the true extent of his ability. The mysterious figure, surprised and intrigued, admits that the young man possesses a peculiar ability unlike any other. The young man reveals that the black flame he wields burns not just physical matter, but abstract concepts. The narration explains that while this flame seems infinitely destructive, its true power is more nuanced and limited at this stage. It clarifies that the strength of the flame depends on the size and complexity of the concept it targets, requiring more mana and skill for larger concepts. He reflects on the need for caution when using this power, recalling how he had to avoid damaging Kim Jae-hyun's muscle strength while defeating him. The current self reflects on how, unlike the past version who wielded a greatsword, they now possess only a fruit knife, making control over their power a constant concern. Despite having used this power cautiously until now, the situation demands abandoning such restraint. The young man declares her intent to burn away all of the place's durability, signaling a decisive escalation. The opponent, confused and alarmed, questions the meaning of burning durability, unable to grasp the strategy unfolding before them. The MC decides to stop explaining and skips further elaboration this time. He raises his hand with a determined look. A powerful attack erupts, striking the opponent with overwhelming force and shattering the surroundings. The opponent grimaces in pain, clearly affected by the sudden and intense assault. The protagonist confidently challenges his opponent to try understanding while taking hits, having discovered the enemy's limits. He reflects on his curiosity to test just how far his current strength can push him. The opponent's intense gaze signals a shift in the battle's tone. He declares the fight will continue elsewhere, as a new location. The battle does not relent. Raw, immense power surges between them. They hurl themselves toward one another, poised for the killing blow. The energy trails swirl around them, intensifying the destructive force as they descend rapidly. The attack culminates in a massive explosion of light and energy. The samurai swings his katana with fierce determination. He clashes blades with the protagonist, their weapons sparking under the force of their collision. The young man's eyes widen in surprise as he senses the intensity of the battle escalating. The cord is cutting through his weapon. With a single, brutal swing, his opponent's blade split his weapon in half. His eyes widen in shock as he realizes the devastating impact of the strike. He has been slashed. The aftermath reveals a massive rock formation, hinting at the destructive power unleashed during the battle. Debris continues to fall as a shockwave ripples through the air. Massive chunks of rock begin to fall through the air. A sudden burst of energy shatters one of the large rocks, intensifying the chaos around them. The young man forcefully breaks through the debris, determined to press forward despite the destruction. A blinding explosion erupts, sending shockwaves and debris spiraling outward as the battle escalates. The mysterious blue-skinned figure surprised as the MC is going straight towards him. His glowing green eyes lock onto his target with unwavering focus. The young man charges forward, wielding a glowing weapon as he prepares to confront the descending threat. The two clash midair, the young man unleashing a powerful strike against the figure. Our boy unleashes a powerful strike, his weapon glowing fiercely as it clashes with the enemy's energy. The impact sends a shockwave rippling through the ground, forcing the figure to brace himself against the force. He stops, wondering what was that. Confused and unsettled, he admits he has never encountered such a phenomenon, not even in the battles of the past. He demands to know the true nature of our hero. The figure's glowing eyes widen in surprise, clearly unsettled by the confrontation. A brilliant cross-shaped light suddenly appears in the sky, drawing the figure's full attention. Taking advantage of the distraction, the young man strikes swiftly with his weapon. A radiant lattice of blue light suddenly envelopes the figure, trapping him in a glowing cage that crackles with energy. The figure screams in agony, his face contorted with pain as the energy burns through his form. His agonized roar intensifies, the force of the attack visibly breaking apart parts of his body. The MC charges forward, weapon in hand, ready to strike the weakened and immobilized figure. The figure lunges forward with a fierce scream, wielding a sharp weapon charged with eerie energy. Our MC meets the attack head-on, their blades clashing amid the crackling lattice of blue light. The young man is struck violently, blood spurting as the force of the blow sends him reeling backward. Severed and broken, the figure's body begins to fall apart, his expression twisted in agony as the energy cage tightens. Their lips curl into a fierce, determined grin, signaling their readiness to end the conflict. Their intense gaze locks onto each other, reflect the deadly seriousness of the moment. The battlefield trembles as dark energy swirls ominously around the shattered terrain. A brilliant explosion of purple energy erupts, shaking the surroundings and marking a decisive strike in the battle. A question lingers in the darkness. What would you do if you met an opponent you absolutely couldn't defeat? Remembering his past, as one of his friends asks him how would he handle it, a battle against a warrior equal to him. He adds that he knows the questions might not interest him. The young man reflects solemnly on the impossibility of defeating such an opponent. He repeats the question, reflecting on the existence of such person. He asserts that if such a person appeared, it is clear that only one of them would survive the encounter. Back to the present, the young man, battered and exhausted, kneels on the ground as the ominous figure stands with his sword in hand. The figure's face reveals a fierce and determined expression. Suddenly the figure begins to fall, defeated. Despite his exhaustion, the young man asserts his dominance, confident that he is the strongest. The figure falling to his knees, defeated. The young man stands resolute amidst the chaos, his expression calm yet determined as remnants of the shattered enemy swirl behind him. A mysterious, glowing artifact pulses with intense blue energy, signaling the arrival of a significant reward. The MC reflects with a faint smile, relieved that this phenomenon appears exactly as it did in another world, confirming his understanding and expectations. Opening the rewards, the young man examines a golden blade and questions if it is a spear, noting its unusually short length. He grips the weapon tightly, beginning to realize its true nature. Suddenly, the spear launches powerfully into the air, creating a massive impact as it soars upward. The young man realizes the golden blade's length can be extended using mana, recognizing its potential usefulness. He recalls that rewards from the corrosion rift depend on the number of participants who enter it. Regretting his decision, he thinks he should have brought Han Sang along and kept her safe to claim her share of the rewards. His thoughts turn to concern as he wonders if Han Sang's sword is still intact. The night sky looms over a damaged building, hinting at recent chaos and destruction. Han Sang lies asleep, her expression calm despite the turmoil outside. Suddenly, she awakens with a start, sensing something urgent. Instinctively, a sword is thrown towards her and she calls out, worriedly asking, "You, Chansuk?" She notices a sword she hasn't seen before and questions its origin. The young man explains he found the sword on his way and insists she take it, judging it to be a fine blade based on its previous wielder. Han Sang examines the sword closely, acknowledging its great quality and excellent maintenance, and thanks him. The young man brushes off concerns about the sword's origin from the corrosion rift and shifts focus, asking if she got enough rest while he was gone. Exhausted, the young man collapses to the ground, declaring he needs to get some rest. Han Sang observes his condition and notes that he fainted, realizing this is something he does occasionally. A narration explains the immense difficulty in progressing from Grade 3 to Grade 2, highlighting the significance of Yu Chansuk's solo clear of a Grade 2 corrosion rift. In the city, people discuss the astonishing news of a rookie hunter clearing a Grade 2 corrosion rift alone, expressing disbelief since even experienced hunter duos find it challenging. People on the streets stare up at giant screens displaying the young man's face, wondering who he really is. The young man struggles with his phone, overwhelmed by the flood of messages he can't even begin to check. He looks out the window at the crowd gathered outside, realizing he definitely can't go outside right now. With a serious expression, he turns away from the window, acknowledging the pressure and attention surrounding him. Jia Suzhong introduces herself to Yu Chanxiak as a representative from the Secretariat of Embargo Tower. Yu Chanxiak acknowledges her visit and expresses surprise at never having heard of Embargo Tower, learning it is not well known to the public because it primarily operates in the ICT field. Jia Suzhong offers her support during his stay and encourages him to report any discomfort, while the MC admits he is curious about her true intentions. He hints that the costly hospital bills she covered imply she expects something in return from him. The protagonist insists on getting straight to the point without wasting any time. The woman smiles gently as she asks if he likes cake, offering a box of it. The story shifts to a detailed explanation of a shield generator, a device that creates a barrier to defend against corrosion creatures. A slice of strawberry cake is shown on a plate as the woman begins to speak, setting the stage for what she is about to say. The MC questions if he is really being trusted to transport a shield generation device that uses mana, despite its prototype status from the US. The woman explains that if the device can be mass-produced, it could provide relief to areas unreachable by hunters, marking it as a mission that could change humanity's fate. The young man asks if this is a large-scale request, and the woman confirms they are checking if other hunters will cooperate. She reveals that Janabi has agreed to assist, surprising the MC, who realizes the mission is more significant than he initially thought. The woman explains that the shield generator will be transported by train from Vladivostok to the Netherlands, then immediately sent by helicopter to Dover in the UK for a test run. The MC questions why the shipment must go all the way to the UK, prompting the woman to explain that Ristorante, one of the great 80s, is based in Naples, Italy, and its influence extends from Europe to North Africa. She adds that the UK is the only somewhat safe place left, protected by the sea, making it a strategic location for the test. The MC reveals that Europe is in a state of anarchy with failing governments and hunter companies acting like warlords, so they will also transport relief supplies at the request of international organizations. He realizes that there will be many people targeting the train transporting the shield generator. The woman asks Mr. Yuchansiak if he has any experience traveling abroad, to which he replies that this will be his first time in Europe. She explains that data collection and analysis for the mission are overseen by Embargo Tower, and she will likely be dispatched as part of the personnel. Our boy feels uneasy as the woman speaks as if his participation in the mission is already decided, but he admits it's nice to have another familiar face around. He sets a condition for the mission. He wants Hunter Han Sang to accompany them. He explains that he made a promise to Han Sang Dash, who accompanied him to Tsushima Island, and trusts her as a friend. The woman acknowledges that a hunter trusted by Mr. Yuchansiak should be the one they ask to join, and he appreciates the sentiment. With a smile, he expresses his anticipation for working together. The MC reflects on how quickly he will be able to expand his influence, feeling more confident than before. A helicopter arrives to pick him up, highlighting the seriousness of the mission despite it being civilian. An older man, chairman, acknowledges the difference in the mission's grade and promises full support from the association for the MC's activities. Our boy responds positively, recognizing that proving his skills has made the process smoother and more efficient. He questions whether the chairman knows about them and what his reaction would be if he did. He considers if the chairman would desire the eventual end of Earth's troubled reality or something else. Our MC wonders if the chairman would want the current state of the world to be preserved instead. Entering the helicopter, he was surprised to find Hunter Lee Sohn, who greets him, noting it has been a while since they last met. Rumors about him have spread as far as Chorwin, making it rare to find someone unaware of him. As the helicopter flies, the MC asks where they are headed, and the answer is an army base. He questions why the military is involved, learning that the South Korean military plans to join the request from Embargo Tower. He reflects that if the shield generator project succeeds, it would reduce the nation's reliance on hunters for defense. From South Korea's perspective, the involvement of the descendants of Dangun is unwelcome, prompting a question about this organization. Hunter Lee confirms she knows the descendants of Dangun as an ultranationalist terrorist group and is surprised that the MC is aware of them, recalling his encounter with them during a mission on Tsushima Island. She explains that the descendants of Dangun, made up entirely of Koreans, have been appearing frequently and interfering with hunters clearing corrosion rifts. The young man reflects that he can understand the core message behind the descendants of Dangun's actions despite their disruptive interference. He admits he understands why the descendants of Dangun hold their beliefs despite their extreme actions. Hunter Lee acknowledges his point quietly, giving the MC a candy. He then notices the pumpkin taffy she hands him and wonders why she is giving it to him. Hunter Lee questions him about his travel experience, implying this might be his first time abroad. The young man wonders why everyone is so curious about his overseas experience and admits this is his first time traveling this far. Hunter Lee responds thoughtfully, agreeing that given his inexperience, he might still think that way and hints will make him realize a lot of things.